Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody today? Welcome to the live stream. How is everybody doing in YouTube land and also on Twitch? We're going live to YouTube and Twitch simultaneously through the power of the one, the only StreamYard. Thank you, StreamYard, for helping us get to multiple destinations today on the stream. How is everybody as they come on in, everybody. We're getting warmed up, giving people time to come in. Make sure that right now you share out this stream because we're going to be talking about COPPA and the FTC in particular. So if you want to talk about that, then this is the place to be right at this time, right now. We're going to go through some information, and then after we go through the information, we're going to open it up to Q&A because I'm sure people have a lot of questions. Hopefully, we're coming through loud and clear. Hopefully, we're coming through. Let's give a few shout outs to people who are coming in live in the chat. So make yourself known, first of all, in the chat by saying hello so I know you're there, and we'll get cracking. We'll get cracking on this stream. All right, let us take off that little StreamYard promo there. Basically, what is this stream about today? Today's stream is all about, has the FTC made it clearer for content creators? They've put out some new information. We're going to go through it, and then we're going to discuss it, and we're going to take questions. So that's the plan for the stream today. So we're going to look at the information that the FTC has given us just not even 24 hours ago. So it's fresh information that hopefully will help a few creators figure out whether their content is made for kids or not made for kids, where there has been some ambiguity and where there has been confusion. So hopefully some of those have been alleviated by this information we're going to go through. So we're going to hit that in just a second. Let's, of course, jump into the chat and see who's here. Now, before the stream, we had the likes of Beanie Draws in the stream, pre-show, of course. Cathan Plays was here before the stream, so was Donna, just being real, pre-stream as well. And then as the stream, also we had Lily Tree pop in just before the stream started as also a blue-eyed tech. Welcome to the stream. And we've also just had, as the stream started, everybody's coming on. Dave Gatton is here in the house, and Beanie is back, of course. Beanie says he's hit the wall when it comes to the FTC. I think there's a few people that can certainly agree with you on that one, right out there. And of course, yes, Super Dave USA. It's been a little while, Super Dave. It's been a little while. It's good to have you here. Good to have you here. We're roughly around the old time slot. Wake up shows generally Saturday morning around 8 a.m. Eastern. It's now it's probably just ticking over to 9 a.m. Eastern right now. We're sort of eating into the NIM and live time slot, but they're not going live today, so it is open and free. So there you go. But we're going to be talking about it. Anyone, make sure you share this out, and if you get some helpful information, make sure you give that the old thumbs up along the way if we've helped you out. So basically, let's go through a few things as people are still coming in. People might have a couple of fundamental questions, like what does FTC stand for? What is COPPA? So we're going to cover some real basics, just basic definitions. Now, what I don't want to go into today, well, not in the information I'm presenting anyway. It might come up in the Q&A, which is fine. Not going to get up to all the background and the legal stuff and the settlement between the YouTube and the FTC. A lot of that's been documented elsewhere on other videos, other live streams. So if you've been living under a rock, I guess you could say, there might be some information out there. But if you go on YouTube, you'll soon come across it, I'm sure. So let's see who we've also got coming in the chat here. Okay, yeah, everybody I've shouted out so far, and once we go through the documentation the FTC's just released in the last 24 hours, then we'll open it up to Q&A. How does it sound? How does that sound? Now, I'm streaming with StreamYard today. I haven't done too much streaming with StreamYard yet. StreamYard is allowing me to stream to both YouTube and Twitch at the same time. So it's my first time streaming to Twitch in any case. So, hi, if you're watching on Twitch, which I can see nobody in the chat right now, let me have a look. Let me have a look at the dashboard. Is there anybody watching on? It says there's 18 people watching on Twitch. So, hello, Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, I can see Beanie tested out. Now, I can't bring up comments from Twitch because StreamYard doesn't yet have Twitch integration built in. It's coming soon, apparently, so that's good. So I can't highlight the questions from Twitch, but I can certainly see the chat and I can read them out. So, so if you're on Twitch, and I see it says there's 18 people watching. So thank you very much for my very first stream on Twitch. We're talking about COPPA and the FTC and how it all relates to YouTube. So probably a bit of a yawn fest for some Twitch people, but I'm certainly there's a lot of people on Twitch who are also on YouTube. So let me just jump back to the board here. And of course, people are going to be coming in because my Twitter alerts and everything just went out about 2 minutes ago. So as they come in, people like a wild D Nimmin might appear, and we say good day to them as they pop in. Good day, D. All right. Let's get to the nuts and bolts. Let's first of all define what COPPA and FTC stand for. It's a lot of letters. What does it mean? And then we'll get into the document that the FTC has put out. Here we go. Now, the FTC, very quite simply, stands for the Federal Trade Commission. It's a body that is under or as a governmental body or authority. They're put in charge of all things to do with trade and policing, that sort of stuff. So if you have anything to do with fair trading and different things in the US, the Federal Trade Commission usually deals with that and probably some import-export stuff as well. And it also oversees a little act of Congress or whatever you call it called COPPA or COPPA. You can call it COPPA or COPPA, I don't mind. But it's an acronym for Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. This is an act that went into effect, I believe it was 1998. It was revised in 2013, and it's all to do with the collection of personal information from children and making sure that certain rules are applied when it comes to online collection of data from minors. So that's quite simply what COPPA is in a nutshell. Let me turn that off. All this StreamYard business. Here we go. Back. So I've got the chat in front of me. We can see what's going on. And if I see anything pertinent in the chat as we go, I'll also pull that up. So here we go. Now, the document we're going to is from the FTC's direct website. It came out around 1 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. So here we go. We're going to bring it up. Now, you can see here, this is the Federal Trade Commission or the FTC's official website. And they put out this little documentation here called YouTube Channel Owners, which hopefully that's probably most of us here watching the stream right now. Is your content directed to children? So they've obviously heard a lot of confusion out there, people contacting them directly, ringing them, submitting stuff on their forms, probably emailing them. There's probably a bunch of ways that people are trying to say, how the heck am I supposed to figure out what my content is? Is it made for children, not made for children? Here it is. I'm getting alerts everywhere from Twitter and everything. Here we go. Now, Blue Eye Tech says, we'll get to the document in just a sec. The problem is that the language the FTC is using is very broad and makes it seem like anything a child might like is at risk, not just channels that are made specifically for children. Exactly. That was basically the information that YouTube basically shared out last week when they announced all this. They said, hey, here's what the FTC says they're looking for, as ambiguous as it is. So you're absolutely right up until this point. And now hopefully this document will clear up. I don't think it's going to clear up everything, but it's going to clear up a few of people's questions. So hopefully it'll point a few more people in the right direction. So we're going to get into this. So make sure there's nothing else in the chat that I need to. Beanie says, all this COPPA and FTC stuff makes me realize how woefully inadequate my brain is, that I'm better off just drawing dinosaurs and hoping I'm classifying things correctly. I think there's a lot of people who feel like that right now, Beanie. So, yes. Josephine is in the house. Who else have we got here? Josephine's here. Josephine's here. That's not Josephine. That's Beanie. Come on. Here we go. Highlighting the wrong messages. Josephine's here. Miriam is also here. Welcome, Miriam. Welcome to the stream. Okay, let's go. I got to remember that I got to turn the comments back off. All right, I'm going to make this full screen and let's look at the start. I'll get my handy dandy pen out and we'll see how we go. Here we go. And the title is YouTube Channel Owners, is your content directed to children? This is by Kristen Cohen, the Assistant Director. Get my trusty pen. We're starting here, right here. Kristen Cohen, Assistant Director, Division of Privacy and Identity Protection. Obviously, that's the division that looks after COPPA. The FTC Bureau of Consumer Protection. And as you can see, it was 12:56 p.m. Friday afternoon, Eastern Time, because the FTC is based on the East Coast of the US. All right. Under COPPA, how do I know if my channel is directed to children? Since the FTC and the New York Attorney General announced their September 2019 settlement with YouTube for violations of the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act rule, that's a mouthful. We've heard that question from channel owners, sometimes called content creators. If you're a channel owner who shares content on user-generated platforms like YouTube, read on for the FTC staff guidance about the applicability of the COPPA rule and how those covered by the rule can comply with the requirements. Now, they start off by going into a bit of background of the action the FTC took against YouTube and Google. This might help put some context. So we're looking at this part here. The lawsuit against YouTube and Google alleged that the companies illegally collected personal information from children in violation of COPPA. According to the complaint, the companies collected that information from viewers of child-directed YouTube channels in the form of persistent identifiers, which we in the web game know as cookies or persistent cookies. That tracks users across the internet, but they didn't notify parents and get their consent. So it's all about consent. To settle the case, YouTube and Google agreed to create a mechanism so that channel owners can designate when the videos they upload to YouTube are, to use the words of COPPA, directed to children. And that's where YouTube paraphrased it as made for kids. So directed to children is what the FTC say. The purpose of this requirement is to make sure that both YouTube and channel owners are complying with the law. Now, there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things that you could actually go down a rabbit hole on at this point with that first part, and that's to do with you know, all the legalities and you. I think you have to be a lawyer. Look at the original documentation for the settlement. Look at the COPPA Act itself, and that's all publicly available out on the internet. And lawyers have looked at this. Many lawyers have looked at this, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not going to go into it. But basically, people draw a lot of assumptions just from the bits of information that they heard from here, from other videos they might have seen on YouTube. They're drawing information from maybe somebody they heard might be a lawyer on YouTube that puts out a video that says, here's the legal stuff that's going on in the background. There's a lot of people on YouTube also just dropping different opinions, whether they're fact or not. So there's a lot of things going on. So we're going to continue that. Let me just quickly scout the chat, because whilst I have that full screen, I cannot see the chat coming through. So let's see who else is in the chat. Crazy Tech and Puppets is here. Says too much government intervention. Kids under 13 can't have an account to comment. That's right, but they can use their parents' account. That's a whole other kettle of fish. That's a whole other can of worms, which we're not opening right at this second. Who else is in here? Mr. Gary's in here as well. Welcome to the stream. Grabster's here. Grabster says he's scared, bro. We're going to see if we can help Grabster become less scared today. All right. I think that's everybody else that's popped in that little interim there. All right, let's get back to the document. Further, they say, as part of the COPPA recap, I'm just going to clear my red pen there. A COPPA recap. So there's a bit of a recap. This is all about the COPPA itself. And this is what everything sort of goes back to, the original COPPA Act. That provision of the settlement, which is a settlement between FTC and YouTube, has raised questions amongst content creators about how to determine if what they upload to YouTube or other platforms is directed to children. We definitely know that there's a lot of content creators asking that question. The answer requires a brief summary of the key COPPA provisions. So they're giving context based on the Act. First of all, this is their first piece of context that'll help people maybe frame their decision a little better. Passed by Congress in 1998, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act is a federal law that protects the privacy of children under 13. COPPA's foundational principle is one that most people can agree on. Parents, not kids, companies, platforms, or content creators, should be in control when it comes to information collected from children online. The FTC, in the second paragraph now, the FTC enforces the law through the COPPA rule. In general, COPPA requires operators of commercial websites and online services that are directed at children, more about that in a minute, there certainly is, to provide notice and obtain verifiable parental consent before they collect personal information from kids under 13. And obviously that hasn't been happening on YouTube historically. The COPPA rule defines personal information to include obvious things like the child's first name, last name, home address, but that's not all. Under COPPA, personal information also covers what are called persistent identifiers, behind-the-scenes code, which we often call cookies, that recognizes a user over time and across different sites or online services. That could be an IP address or a cookie when it is used to serve targeted ads. That's an example. Keep in mind that an operator also might be collecting personal information through an open comment field. That's why comments are gone for kids' channels. On its site or service that allows a user under 13 to make personal information publicly available. For example, think of a comment like this on a child-directed site. My name is Mary Jones from Springfield. I love this video. So therefore, we've now collected that child, Mary Jones's information. We know her name, where she lives. So that's interesting. Okay, so how does COPPA apply to channel owners? This is a big question that a lot of people have said, well, how come COPPA applies to us? We're not an operator of a website. So why is it us as content creators that are responsible and not just YouTube? We're going to dive into that in 1 second because I am going to jump into the chat, make sure that we've got any new people we can shout out. Grab scissors all right now, so that's good. All right. So I think this is a question a lot of people have is why does COPPA apply to channel owners? Why does it apply to us and not just YouTube or Google or any other website? Why is us? We're not in control of the information that's being collected. So why are we what's it called? Collecting info. Why are we liable? Why does it apply to us? All right. I will jump back to the chat shortly. Here we go, back to the document in hand. So how does COPPA apply to channel owners who upload their content to YouTube or another third-party platform? COPPA applies in the same way as it would if the channel owner had its own website or app. So what they're saying is if we as a channel owner, instead of having a YouTube channel, if we had our own dedicated website and we're posting exactly the same content, then that's why it applies to us on the first count. Or if we had an app that we created, put it in an app store somewhere, and we were collecting, if we were targeting in that game, it was a game, say, and it was a game for people, for kids particularly, then we have to be very careful to comply to COPPA in regards to collecting their personal data. If a channel owner uploads content to a platform like YouTube, the channel might meet the definition of a website or online service covered by COPPA, depending on the nature of the content. So that's the first one, nature of the content, which in other words is it's directed at kids, and the information collected. If the content is directed to children, and if the channel owner or someone on its behalf, for example, an ad network, collects personal information from viewers of that content, for example, through a persistent identifier that tracks a user to serve interest-based ads, which is basically what was happening on YouTube up until now, the channel is covered by COPPA. Once COPPA applies, the operator must provide notice, obtain verifiable parental consent, and meet COPPA's other requirements. For information on how to comply with COPPA, please visit the FTC page, and that's that 6-step compliance plan for your business. And that's basically that information that we were given last week by YouTube, which came directly from the FTC about defining whether our content, which is whether it's a website, a video, an app, whatever it is, if it's deemed as directed at kids or not. Now, this is where we're going to get to the part where how channel owners can determine if their content is directed to children. Before we dive into that, I think we need to jump right back and dive into the chat for just a second, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty where they start giving us some additional information as content creators. All right. Lily Tree says, one big issue I see is the FTC's legal vagueness. Crashing into YouTube's and algorithms absolutes. Yes, absolutely. Mr. Gary says, earlier I gave some tuition to 3 kids. We finished the session, and what did they do? They went straight to the massive TV, straight onto YouTube. Zero parental supervision. YouTube have to lock it down. That's one way to go for sure. I wish, Beanie says, I wish some niches were less vague. My Little Pony and Blue's Clues are obviously for kids. Finance is obviously for adults. But where did dinosaurs fall? That is a question. Does this, Beanie also says, does this also mean we're going to need to ban any comment that refers to age? I think so. You know what? Just from a Beanie, you know this because I know we've talked about it before. We know that Discord quite clearly in its terms and conditions, if a owner of a Discord server receives any sort of information that somebody on their server, somebody's joined their server is under the age of 13, they must be removed from the server immediately. And if you keep them on, then you're actually breaking Discord's terms of service. Now, their terms of service is based on, guess what? COPPA. Crazy Tech and Papa says COPPA also applies to all internet platforms. It sure does. If they are serving any type of kids content, that kids content is required to comply to COPPA. All about collection of data from children. All the kids, by the way, were well under 13 years old. Absolutely. Blue Eye Tech says, my kids are only allowed to use YouTube Kids app. Yeah. So there's some responsibility we got for parents, of course, to oh, excuse me, that's my butter chicken. Yeah, yes, there's certainly some responsibility on parents to make sure they're supervising what their children are watching, just from a purely safety point of view. I think parents are less aware. I'm not saying it's less important, but it's less aware of um, their kids might be giving out personal information, um, if it's say in a form or something like that. I'm not sure how many kids actually end up going on web forms to type in information, but certainly the sites that they go to should, under COPPA, have all that locked down so they can't uh, sort of push that information towards the channel owner or the website owner, the app owner. Beanie says, I have parents telling me that their kids love my comments. So that technically parental consent. Sort of, yeah. I don't know if COPPA would, if the FTC would consider that parental consent, but yeah, I guess it's a form. It's a form of consent without expressly consenting. It's like an inferred consent, I guess you could say. But it's also sharing information, so I might have to delete it if they mention their kid's age. But if it's the parents' account and the parents are commenting, then that comment's okay because they're allowed to comment because they're the parents. That's what I would say. Would putting an age restriction of 18 plus on my videos help prevent kids from watching my videos? It would certainly help kids prevent kids from watching your videos, but it will put other restrictions on that video. In other words, you'll be your amount of ads that you'll be able to play. You'll get not suitable for all advertisers because you're basically saying you got edgy 18 plus content. It also not be pushed out. Obviously, the reach of the video might be reduced in some ways. So, yes, be careful that because that's right under that audience setting. If you're in the video, if you select the age restriction part, that is not part of COPPA. That is not a requirement of COPPA, but it has its own consequences with YouTube. So make sure that you don't flag anything age restricted because that will affect the performance of your video 100%. All right, we've got a few more people joining in as well. We've got Sweeney Dunstan here. Hashtag Hewsonati. Hey. Miriam says we do not need to send all kids to an island. I think old Pewds was joking there. We need to ask ourselves why we're so accepting of the extensive, intrusive acquisition of information. Well, that's true. And that's what COPPA is there to curb, particularly when it comes to minors. So, they're trying to do a good thing there. COPPA is out there to protect children from their data being collected and used for something that could be it could be something totally totally benign, but it could be something not so benign. Yeah, that could be used for evil and not good. You're trusting some random website owner to do the right thing. You look at, and there's information breaches out there. It's happened with Facebook and different online services where passwords and stuff have been hacked. Credit card information has been retrieved from various sites, just generally on the internet, not to do with kids' content per se. But these things happen. If you store that information and it's on a minor, then that's unscrupulous people grabbing kids' information. So don't throw COPPA under the bus just because it's might be screwing you out of some income. It's there to try and do a good thing. So we're going to get back to the document in a second. Here's BK42. How you going? Good to see you. Yes. All right. It's time to head back. Time to head back. How do I do that? Good old StreamYard. All right. Here we are. This is the crux. How channel owners can determine if their content is directed to children. All right. Hopefully, this will give us more information than what we've had so far with those 6 factors for compliance that we were given last week. Under COPPA, there is no one-size-fits-all answer, and yet we've experienced that. That's for sure. What There's no one-size-fits-all answer about what makes a site directed to children, but we can offer some guidance. Please offer some guidance. To be clear, your content isn't considered directed to children just because some children may see it. So just because some children may watch your content doesn't mean it's automatically directed at children. So don't worry about saying, "Oh my goodness, a child watched my video. I'm in trouble." So don't. That they're saying that. Okay, that's not going to happen. However, if your intended audience is kids under 13, okay, I'm doing Blue's Clues television reviews. Who watches Blue's Clues? Kids. Adults don't watch Blue's Clues. So that video is obviously targeted for kids, like a recap show after they've watched their episode of Blue's Clues. I'm just making this up as an example. So that's obviously clearly kids content. Okay, if your intended audience is kids under 15, you're covered by COPPA and have to honor the rules requirements. The rule sets out additional factors the FTC will consider in determining whether your content is child directed. Okay, they're looking at the subject matter. Okay, that's real clear. That's good. Subject matter is what we're talking about. Is that targeted for kids? Am I talking about Barbie and the Frozen 2 movie? It's clearly directed at kids. Am I talking about coding in BASIC on my computer that I got 30 years ago, and I'm coding in BASIC? It's probably not for kids. But yes, there is a gray area in the middle where something could be on the border, and we're going to look at the extra factors that I talk about. They're also looking at visual content, so that's talking about like what you see in the video, or what you see on the thumbnail. The use of animated characters or child-oriented activities or incentives. The kind of music and the kind of music or other audio content. So is the music and the audio content, is it clearly for kids? Does that give you a kid vibe? The age of the models, which would models is an odd word to use, but basically the people who maybe appear in the video. The presence of child celebrities or celebrities who appeal to children. Okay. Now, there's a difference between like somebody who's looking at JoJo or somebody who's looking at The Rock. Like kids like The Rock, but he's not a celebrity who appeals to children exclusively. He has a broad appeal, so that's okay. But JoJo, who's a YouTube celebrity to little tweens and kids, then that would clearly be a child celebrity. Language or other characteristics of the site. So if the way that the people, if you're talking in your video like you're talking to a kid, like "Hello, boys and girls," that sort of thing, that's clearly means that they're going to consider that probably more likely targeted kids. But if you're basically saying, "Hey, I'm today we're going to be discussing the intellectual factors of reading the book by Shakespeare and these and other sonnets of the Victorian era." Something a little bit more literary, intellectual. It's clearly not for kids. Whether advertising that promotes or appears on the site is directed at children. Okay, so if you're doing an advertising spot on your video and you're promoting something that's clearly kid related, like a toy or a DVD or a movie that is, say you're giving away Blu-rays for Frozen 2, that's clearly that video is probably going to have to be flagged as made for kids. Competent and reliable empirical evidence about the age of your audience. Now, if you have competent, reliable empirical evidence of the age of your audience, then congratulations to you, because YouTube doesn't have that, for the virtue of the fact that because they don't track the age of children under 13, because they're when you sign up for an account, then you have to be over 13 or older. So if they're watching on a parent's account, the stats are off because it's recording the age of the parent, not the age of the child watching. So obviously you cannot use your YouTube stats to provide evidence of your audience. All right, let's get into the nuance of it. We're right here. The determination of whether content is child directed will be clearer in some contexts than in others. Tell us about it. Some things are cut and dry. JoJo versus The Rock is cut and dry, but not everything is. But we can share some general rules of thumb. First, okay, here's the first rule of thumb. Unless you're affirmatively targeting kids, there may be many subject matters categories where you don't have to worry about COPPA. For example, if your videos are about traditionally adult activities like employment, finances, politics, home ownership, home improvement, or travel, you're probably not covered unless your content is geared towards kids, like you're doing finances for kids. That's obviously really for kids. The same would be true of videos aimed at high school or college students. On the other hand, if your content includes traditional children's pastimes or activities, it may be child directed. For example, the FTC recently determined that an online dress up game was child directed. Okay, that doesn't give us a lot of clarity, but it's a start. Second, we're down right here. Just because your video has bright colors or animated characters doesn't mean you're automatically covered by COPPA or directed at kids. While many animated shows are directed to kids, the FTC recognizes that there can be animated programming that appeals to everyone. So, Japanese anime people, you're probably going to be safe. You're probably fine. You're not kids' content. That's an example that I've just pulled out, in case you're wondering. Third, let's discuss this. Let's get through this section, and then we'll come back to the chat. Third, the complaint in the YouTube case offers some examples of channels the FTC considered to be directed to children. For example, many content creators explicitly state in their About section of their YouTube channel that their intended audience was children under 13. That's clear cut, of course. Other channels made similar statements in communications with YouTube. In addition, many of the channels featured popular animated children's programs or showed kids playing with toys or participating in other child-oriented activities. Some of the channel owners also enabled settings that made their content appear when users search for the names of popular toys or animated characters. Metadata, of course, they're talking about. Do you want to see the FTC's analysis in context? Read pages 10 to 14 of the YouTube complaint. And there's a link there right here. After the stream, I'm going to put the link to this particular article. Then you can link out to any of the other parts that the FTC are linking to. So I'll pop that in the description. Actually, I'll pop that in the chat shortly. When I come back to the chat, I'm going to grab that right now. I'm going to grab that link. This is the link to this very article. I'm going to pop that in the chat in just a second. Now we're about to read the final paragraph of this section. Finally, if you've applied the factors listed in the COPPA rule and still wonder if your content is directed at children, it might help to consider how others view your content and content similar to yours. Has your channel been reviewed on sites that evaluate content for kids? Is your channel or channels like yours mentioned in blogs for parents of young children or in media articles about children-directed content? Have you surveyed your users, or is there any other empirical evidence about the age of your audience? They're giving you a hint there on how you can get that empirical evidence. So make a note of that. Make a note of that. All right. Back to StreamYard here. First thing I'm going to do is drop the link in the chat. That's the chat. That's the link to the article that I'm reading from. So if you want to go down the rabbit hole looking at the other links that the FTC is providing within that document, then for your leisure, for your pleasure. It is there. So let's go back. I'm going to have to scroll back through the chat, see where we're up to, and pull out pertinent comments from that section that we just looked at. We had Tim. Tim Yonsei has jumped in. Welcome to the stream. We're talking about COPPA. It's riveting stuff. Oh, BK's asking for the link, but the link I have just dropped for you. Better late than never. Here we go. VZZ says boo, and I'm assuming that's directed to the whole COPPA thing. Hopefully that's not directed at my boring reading of the document, but maybe it is. Hey. Crazy Tech Puppets. Doug Hewson YT. Last night, a Michigan attorney said that this document is useless. What you'll find is was that I've watched a few lawyers, and there's a couple that I have watched Inc. or Sign. He's only done one video. I've watched quite a few videos from a guy called, his channel's called Hogue Law. He might be the guy in Michigan. I'm not sure. But you be noted very clearly that in all his videos, he very clearly states that not to take his comments or advice as legal advice, just to take it as his opinion. So I know he's said a number of things, and he's also played devil's advocate by looking at things from certain points of view. I've watched about 3 or 4 of his videos. I know there's a few more that I haven't seen. But that if it's him, now I'm talking about particular. I'm not sure if he outright said that a document is useless. It basically is their attempt at giving you extra information. So it's up to us as content creators whether we find any extra value out of that document or not. So I guess that remains to be seen. So I probably haven't seen that particular video because I haven't seen him talk about that document. Unless it's a different guy, of course. Might be a different guy. Where are we? I'll watch Blue's Clues. Not being sarcastic, I'm serious. Yeah, you could be, yeah, but adults can watch children's content. That's fine. Adults like who grew up, watching, say, He-Man Masters of the Universe. I'm showing a little bit of my age here, or something like that. And obviously, in these days, kids are going to be watching that, but you have nostalgia for that sort of thing. So if you grew up watching Blue's Clues, or you grew up watching Sesame Street or something like that, then there's some fondness in your heart towards that from your history. But if you're an adult watching that, that's fine. It can be for kids if kids want to learn basic, but is it directed at kids? Me teaching basic is not directed at kids. It's directed at those who like basic. It's not directed at kids specifically. So there's no ambiguity in my mind on that particular one. Did the child attractive designation come from FTC or YouTube? I think FTC have used that language before. Now they're talking about targeted because I think they're talking specifically in the instance of content creators and YouTube and other platforms where they're using the targeted kids. Child attractive, I'm sure, is in some of their other documentation. There goes Jack Black channel. I don't know what sort of content he does. I thought he did gaming and stuff. I think he does vlogs as well. I'm not sure why Jack Black would be considered kids content. I would not consider it kids content. Although I haven't watched it, so that's just based on my peripheral look at his channel page. Josephine, how's the creeper way welcoming kids? Oh dear, probably was. Yeah, I think Grabs, that's a good point, and maybe some content creators probably just need to adjust how they do things a bit, just so there's no ambiguity. Which is fair, make some adjustments just so you don't get caught with your pants down, as they say. Sweeney says, the thing that kills me about this is there's so many maybes and mights. Nothing is solid. Most of it seems to be written so they can change their minds about what is or isn't kids. I think what they're saying with this document so far, we haven't finished it yet, is we're trying to use some common sense. It's not going to be based on something weird or strange or out there. It is actually trying to be based on common sense, is what they're intimating without actually saying it. They're saying we're going to use common sense, but common sense isn't always common, as we've found. I wonder if Lego collecting will fall under. I think it depends on the. Remember, if you buy a Lego set, it's got an age rating on the Lego set. I'd use that as a guide. That's my opinion. My personal opinion. All right. Here we go. Oh, it was Hoag's Law. Yeah. I don't think I've seen that particular video of his. I watched one of his today, and it was like 40 minutes or 35, 40 minutes, and he was talking about something else, because I think it was about that time that somebody sent me the link. I think it was Sir Death on Discord sent me the link to this particular article. He says, unless it's useless because you could be fined if the FTC determines part of your comment can attract kids. I'm going to have to watch that one. Oh, I've missed that video. Ninja Turtles. Now, yeah, Ninja Turtles is in that area where you'd probably say, yeah, teens for sure, but teens are safe. Remember, teens are safe. Kids, yeah. If you go back to the comics, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that's for an older audience, in my opinion. So I think you might be okay with Ninja Turtles. But if you're looking at maybe the animated series, it depends on how it's presented. Some of it's a lot more hardcore. Some of it's a lot more sort of kid friendly. So yeah, there is a gray area. If you said Ninja Turtles generally, there's ambiguity. If you're talking about a specific series, you might be able to narrow it down. Or if you're talking about the comments specifically, you might be able to narrow it down. You can see this stuff is still not cut and dry, and I wasn't that confident that this article would be helpful, but we've still got a little bit more to read. But basically, it points us in a slight direction towards common sense. Well, the document, yeah. Well, the document's just advice and guidance. It's not legal protection. That makes sense, because it's not legal. It's like anything that YouTube puts in a YouTube help blog or a forum post. It's informational, but ultimately it's their terms of service that is the legal requirement, not the information in a help post or a forum post. So that's just a general legal thing, because it's not a legal document. It's just guidance. It's just a, hey, this is what we say. Where are we? Beanie, dinosaur drawings can attract kids, but if it can attract kids, but who Beanie, who are you drawing for? That would be my question. Who are you targeting? It says targeted. The word targeting infers, and this is obviously in other wording as well. Targeting infers that you're directing. Targeting, directing, same thing. You're directing or targeting a particular user by the way that you design your content. FTC rules apply no matter where you are. Well, yeah, they apply in the sense of that you have to be compliant because you're on YouTube, and it's probably with all those updates of the terms and conditions of YouTube, your compliance is part of the whole. If they want to decide to, if you're not going to comply to the FTC COPPA thing and designate, because all YouTube's asking you to do is designate your content. You just need to check the box. On the YouTube side, that's all they're requiring you to do. It's the FTC that is going to have a problem if you've said it's not for kids and they say it is for kids. Mr. Gary says no one is safe as if we don't do things properly, then we'll lose our channels. Yeah, that's the crux. So if you're less likely to get a fine if you're outside the US. because the FTC aren't going to, they're not going to try and, as us Aussies say, flog a dead horse. They're not going to be trying to get get blood out of a stone, as the other saying goes. They're actually probably say, hey, YouTube, we think these guys have done the wrong thing. Here's a court order. You need to take down the content. Maybe give them a strike. Maybe take down their channel. That'll be the route. If you're definitely, if they can't apply a fine, then they're going to enforce it in other ways. All they have to do is get a court order to tell YouTube that you're obligated to do this by a judge that says, hey, do this thing. That's probably what's going to happen for those outside the US. We've got more in the article because it does talk about how when we talked about the whole fine thing. We're going to dive into that in just a second, because that's where people feel the pressure, like not deciding not being able to figure out if your content's clearly for kids or not for kids under their rules. If that's not hard enough, the added pressure, people have that added weighted pressure of a possible fine. And, that's scary for sure. That's definitely scary. So, what does the FTC say about the actual fine? We're going to look at that in just a second. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if the content's on YouTube, which is hosted in the US, then their reach might stop at YouTube, but they can get your channel nonetheless, or your video. If it's just one video, they might say, hey, you need if they can't make it compliant, you need to take it down. Beanie, if I go missing, it's because the FTC have abducted. They've come for you to take you to the United States so they can prosecute you. No, I don't think that actually wouldn't happen. But yeah, that's just funny. All right, let's dive back to finish the document. We need to finish the document, and we're going to take any questions that you might have very, very soon. So here we go. I need to turn this off. There we go. This is the next section. What are the possible penalties for violating COPPA or COPPA? The rule allows for civil penalties, of up to, now it's up to, so this is the maximum. They can't go any higher. So there's a cap on it, $42,530 per violation. But the FT considers a number of factors in determining the appropriate amount. And this was also stated in the press conference that the FTC did after regarding the settlement of YouTube, and talked about this further in. This is the part that not a lot of people, people pick and choose what part of that media conference. People like to use the shoot and fish in a barrel reference, but they also have the same gentleman who said shoot and fish in a barrel also talked about how they calculate the penalties. And this sort of goes some way into explaining that, but he did also explain a few other things, which I'm going to go into in just a second. But the FTC considers a number of factors in determining the appropriate amount, including the company's financial condition. That company is you, the content creator, in this case. So I guess if you're an LLC, you're definitely a company and you're in business. But if you're a solo creator, obviously they're taking all that into account, and the impact a penalty could have on the ability to stay in business. Like, will this penalty stop them? Will wipe them? Is it going to wipe them out completely if we charge this? If we ask the court for this amount of money from them? Well, Google, YouTube paid 170 million, and obviously they're worth billions. So they could have fined them a lot more. But 170 million for Google and YouTube was quite low. And in another COPPA case settled this year, the operator, this would have been a website of some description, paid a total civil penalty of $35,000. Obviously, that website was making a decent amount of money to receive such fine. Obviously, not Google, YouTube amounts of money. Now, this doesn't really help us too much, but it does say, well, it's not going to be the full amount, but we're going to take these things into consideration. So if you're not making any money, then they're going to take that into consideration. It's like, well, we can't find them because they don't make any money in the first place. And that might actually, let me just pull my camera on the side here. That might actually deter them from sort of putting in a monetary enforcement on you. They might just go to the route of, okay, the judge, I've taken this gone to the court. The judge agrees that this is a breach. YouTube, we want you to make sure that they get talk to the content creator, make sure that they get compliant within 7 days or 30 days or immediately or whatever. Or they might say, this is an egregious case. We want you to take the video down right away. Or they might say, this is a super duper massive case. We want you to terminate the channel completely. Here's a court order. You must terminate their channel. So, there's other means that they can get you apart from just financial. That's all speculation on my part. I don't have any proof on the termination or what they do, but they can certainly ask the court to make a ruling on that and sign a document to enforce it, if they can prove their case, of course. And the other thing, I guess, is the video I was talking about, where the press conference, where the FTC did the press conference after the Google YouTube settlement in September. Now, in that video, the reporter in the press conference said, "What sort of penalties and how will you work out a penalty for a content? Say you went after a content creator, what sort of penalty are you going to give them? How do you work that out?" He says, "We take into consideration their income, like it says here in the document. We take into consideration income and apply," and he, in his words, says a multiplier. So he's going to look at, and I think specifically they said the particular video in the case, how much revenue did that video, that piece of content, get? Did you make $1? Did you make $100 on that video? Did you make $1,000 on that video? Okay, they made $100 on that video. We're going to apply our mysterious multiplier. So say that multiplier is, we're going to ding you 10 times the amount. Okay, you made $100. We're going to ding you $1,000 is your penalty. We don't know what that multiplier is, but there's a multiplier based on, according to the commissioner who spoke in that press conference, he said, based on the revenue that content generated. Things to consider. Don't be scared that you're going to get fined $42,000 or $43,000, because that's not a given. All right. We need to take a quick breather from the document. Back to the chat. Where were we up to? I know a few more people have jumped in. I know there's Car Galaxy Studios I saw pop in there. How's it going? All right. Where are we up to? Lily Tree says, I expect YouTube is likely to flag the video long before anyone is summoned to court. Well, YouTube are currently doing their own sweep and just marking what their AI thinks that your content falls under. And you can actually, interesting you say that. What they do is the YouTube is probably, I think it's in progress and it's going to take a while. And they're going to probably try and get it done before January 1st. But they're pushing that through. If you want to know if YouTube's flagged any of your content, not you yourself has flagged it, but they've flagged it, then what you can do is there's a tool that TubeBuddy has put out. Let me just jump over here. You can identify any videos flagged by YouTubers made for kids using Tube's. They've got a COPPA tool. So if you have any version of TubeBuddy, including free, you can actually download. And you have it hooked up to your account, of course. You go to your video section of the dashboard, and up the top where you got that little TubeBuddy toolbar, there's a little button that says COPPA tool. If you click on that, it will quickly scan through the content and identify videos that YouTube have flagged. So you don't have to scroll through pages and pages videos and look to see if YouTube have actually flagged it. So that's a good tool. So and it's part of the free package. So you don't even need to be a TubeBuddy user. But if you haven't got TubeBuddy already and you want to download that and link it to your channel to help with that, or any other the tools that TubeBuddy has, then I have a link in the description below for TubeBuddy, which I will. No, I don't have it handy, but it's in the description right now. I know for a fact it's in the description. Let me just drop that one there. Just so you know, that's TubeBuddy. That's what TubeBuddy looks like. It's the #1 YouTube management tool. So they're the first to come out with a little tool just to help identify any video that YouTube has already scanned and picked up. So you can come back and run it like next week and see if they've picked anything up since last time, because they're progressively churning through everybody's back catalog of videos. So I'm glad we got to talk about that briefly. Let's get back to the comments. Scott, welcome to the stream. I resent the fact that FTC called us fish and barrel. Yeah, I think most content creators didn't like being called fish in a barrel, or being like shooting fish in a barrel. That's not pleasant. It's okay for the person shooting the fish in the barrel, but what about the poor fish? All right, where are we up to? Sweeney says, Beanie, my community is 1/3 of why I do this. If I lose the community, then I won't enjoy it anymore. Yes. I think we need to look, and I think that sort of leads us down the path of relying on YouTube for our, solely hosting our content, relying on YouTube for being able to reach out to our communities. We got to find ways and implement ways so that we can reach our people in our communities, people who watch our videos, people who are our subscribers, whoever they might be, outside ways by, creating an email list, sites like Patreon where you can build a community, maybe a Discord server. But remember, they're all websites, so all these things still have to be like, you can't collect an email address from a minor, can you? So it's like, if children are your, well, you can if you get the parents express permission. So if you set up an email, this is not legal advice, but this is just my brain thinking over right now for everybody. Okay, if you're a kids channel and you want to be able to share your content and let people know, like, because there's no notification for kids content anymore. If you want to let them know there's a new video, you need an email list. But an email list has been signed up for a parent, therefore parental consent is in place. That would be your way of doing it, I would imagine. All right, where are we up to? Beanie says, I've had some major depression because of all this. The comments that I've inspired people is my purpose for creating. Take away my reason and I have nothing. Well, that's right. See, these are the things that you can't, like a government body like the FTC can't track or factor in. It doesn't really factor into legal stuff, but it's something that has to be considered. So I agree. People need to be considered that what impact decisions make on people's livelihoods, what it makes on their emotional well-being, on their families, on their lifestyle, all those factors. So yeah, that's something that they need to take into account. And that's why I think people need to be signing that petition about keeping kids, saving kids-friendly content. What other systems can we put in place? What other systems can YouTube put in place to actually be able to keep comments on there, to keep communities alive? So hopefully YouTube can come to the party somewhat on that as well, where they're doing it in a way that complies with COPPA. So yes, make sure you submit that sort of thought. They're the sorts of thoughts you need to be submitting to the FTC before the deadline on December 9. So make sure you do that. Scott says, so what channels do you think FTC will go after? Little guppies are massive whales. Yeah, yeah. Keep in mind the penalties go towards funding the FTC. They keep the money. That's right. Less court costs, but yes. How much of it goes to the lawyers? There's something to consider. But yes, I think if they find a case, they're going after. Look, they've recently gone after. What's that toy channel? They've actually taken legal action against that toy channel, just on another matter. I don't think it wasn't COPPA related, but they went after them, and they were like millions and millions of subscribers, probably make millions of dollars a year. They're well able to, if they settle or cop a fine, they're well able to actually pay that. So it makes sense as the FTC to go after, to be able to do, because you don't want to waste the court's time and you don't want to waste money on legal fees where you don't have to. So you're going to go after the ones you know you're going to win, and you're going to go after the ones that you know that you're going to be able to collect. That's my opinion. Beanie says, I don't care about money or financial diversification. I care about making an impact on people's lives with inspiration. And that's what a lot of YouTube's about. Absolutely. That's more valuable to me than money, and they want to take that away. They're not considering the ramifications. If you have a channel that can be understood that your intent is towards kids, back up your channel. That's a fair point. Especially if you're not sure and you're marketing correctly. Like if you're a kids channel, clearly, and you market as kids, you can continue posting content. But the drawback is the loss of comments and the loss of all those other features, and a big dump in earnings if you're in the YouTube partner program, because you're not getting those targeted ads, because they're not collecting data on the kiddies anymore, so they can't target them. So yeah. The problem is, though, with kids channels, for them, is even if they go to another platform, COPPA's got to follow them, because they're still that other platform has to be compliant somehow, and either protect them or they need to protect themselves. But you might have the limitations because there's no real other platform like YouTube that has the same setup. They don't have like the proper comments and the way subscriptions work and the way notifications work. That all different platforms work in different ways. And the other big thing is other platforms aren't even discoverable, where you have to know what you're looking for. You can't just uh, easily search something like you can on Google or YouTube. All right, where are we up to? Here we go. Blue Eye Tech says the fish in the barrel comment just shows how the FTC sees YouTube content creators. Yeah. Like, I must say, the commissioner who said that, he says that the analogy, if somewhat imperfect, it is more than imperfect. It's a shocking analogy. Mr. Commissioner, it was bad. Car Galaxy Studio says, I agree. The problem, I think, is that all YouTubers get painted with one brush. We're not all Logan Paul. It just shows how little the FTC understands the business implications too. Yeah, at least we've got that extension to submit comments until December 9. Otherwise, we're being more than stuffed. So there's a glimmer of hope. There's people working in the background. So we need to back them up with the signatures and the comments. Grabster says, my video just published. I hope I can raise enough awareness. Yeah. And that there's a lot of content creators who are just purely raising awareness, which is probably the best thing, because, not all, it's a complex issue to discuss if you want to go into the legalities, or you want to go into the other aspects of it, whether it's fair, the fairness of it, there's all those things. But one thing we can do is A, talk to other content creators, and B, talk to our audience. And so, like, I did my video a few days ago, so I did mine. Mine was inspired, actually. Mine was directly inspired, you probably know from the thumbnail, by Nick Nimmon's video. I watched that video, and that very second, it's like, I got to make my video right now. And so I made my video. I jumped on and made that video. I was up until about 3 a.m. Making it, thumbnails, upload, the whole, how the whole process is, and make it go live. So I was like, on a weekday, I got to go to work, but that's how much Nick's video moved me, that I needed to jump on and do it straight away. So if you feel moved that you want to, see if we can turn things around, get some concessions, and make it better for kids' content in particular, then make sure, if you haven't already, sign that petition and also submit your comments to the FTC. I think I've lost track of the chat again. Here we go. Grabster's comment here. The Urban Explorer has joined the ranks here. Well, hello, people of the interwebs. Sounds like a Daryl Eves expression there. And how is everybody going over on Twitch? I haven't checked Twitch. How's everything going on Twitch? Anybody still watching on Twitch? Twitch is on a very short delay. Hi, can you send me a pizza? Somebody says. Naya Ha. Hi, can you send me a pizza? I don't know how long ago that was left. And I got some early ones from Beanie, jumped over on Twitch. Okay, not too many comments on Twitch. Cool. Thank you for watching on Twitch. Whoever's still watching on Twitch, I know. Thank you very much. Neil's come in with some tough love there, everybody. Tough love. Yeah, we can all speculate on conspiracy theories, on whether I've read comments where the FTC's in cahoots with the Democrats, the FTC's in cahoots with the Republicans, the FTC's is the left's agenda, it's the right's agenda. It's like who's in power? You've got in Congress and in Congress you've got Democrats and Republicans, independents. You've got a Trump in the White House. You've got different things, and that changes. And how many presidential changes and House changes have we had since 1998 when the initial COPPA law was put in place, and even since 2013 when the amendments were made last? And they're looking to make more amendments, which is why they were looking for people to comment. So, it's hard to say. It's all just speculation, and it's all just hearsay. Unless you got like in the know, in the back end of Washington, you don't. Us simpletons around the world, we don't know any of that stuff for certainty, anyway. Lilytree, just use the TubeBuddy COPPA tool. So simple to use. Thanks, TubeBuddy. Yeah, thanks, TubeBuddy. I'm going to give TubeBuddy another shout. Here we go. I create, therefore I am. Wearing my TubeBuddy shirt. So a bit of a shout out for TubeBuddy there. All right, I've lost the chat again. Okay, Kevin says, keep in mind that the FTC, I think, is controlled by the Republicans right now, too. Next year, after the election, it could change again. I don't know. That what's her name who wants to impeach Trump? Isn't she a Democrat? Does she run the? I don't know who has the House majority right now. See, I'm not a big, I know a little bit of U.S. politics, but not too much. It's like they answer to the House, so whoever they answer to the Senate and the House. They put the Senate and the House make laws, and they say, here, FTC, you need to enforce COPPA. We've made this rule. You got to enforce it. But yes, the commissioners and the people in charge are appointed by those people in, I was going to say members of parliament, but that's Australia's members of parliament. What do you call it? The members of the House and the members of the Senate. Capitol Hill. All right, where are we? Golden W, welcome to the stream. Says I always select no. It's not made for kids. Well, if your content is real clear, that's an easy choice. That's an easy choice. Not everybody's content is clear, as we've already discovered so far. Ms. Roy, I'm not making a video about it. It's like I'm asking them to stop making us pay tax. It's happening, so I'd have to. Yeah, to a point, and it depends on your audience as well. Is it, as a content creator, if you just sort of step back a second, it's like, well, is this video going to fit my channel? Am I speaking to content creators or am I speaking to my audience? And is my audience even interested in that? Does my audience care? That's something you got to ask yourself too. Does my audience care about that? Some have passionate communities. They do care. Some not so much. Literally, US politics is complicated. Absolutely. Every time I go on Twitter and get to the top of my feed, there's always some live video of somebody of Trump's impeachment. It's like, geez, that's still going on. Oh dear. All right, where are we up to? I think I've caught up with the chat mostly. That's mostly in the chat. All right. Let me just quickly check. I think we've got a little bit more of this document to read. We're at the bottom. Okay, this is the part. Isn't the FTC taking another look at the COPPA rule? Yes, the FTC is currently evaluating the rule in light of rapid changes in technology. So that's the update we're talking about. If you would like to comment on the effectiveness of the COPPA rule and whether changes are needed, the FTC has extended the deadline to December 9. That's the thing that we're commenting on. This is an opportunity for them to update the COPPA Act itself, which is the legal document. So that is where you can actually go and do your thing, have your say, if so inclined. All right, and finally, where can channel owners go for more information? I think a lot of people are still looking for more information. A look at the factors in the COPPA rule will help most channel owners focus on the word most channel owners determine if their content is directed to children. If you're still unsure about how COPPA applies to you, consider contacting an attorney or consulting with one of the COPPA Safe Harbor programs, self-regulatory groups that offer guidance on how operators can comply with the law. Visit the FTC's website of a list of currently approved Safe Harbor organizations. They're all US organizations, of course. For more resources, visit FTC's Children's Privacy page for our six-step compliance plan for your business. Now, that particular plan is, I believe, the those general rules that we typical document with a lot of information. Okay, that's not applicable to us. Let's get out of here. Let's get out of here. Let's turn that off. All right, now where are we? Back to the chat. That's the document. Is anybody give me a yes in chat if in the end that's a little bit clearer for you? If it's helped any, say yes. If you're still confused, say no. So yes, if it helped you any at all, you might not have all the answers, but it's helped. Say yes. If it hasn't helped you at all, say no. Let's see what we got. Beanie says, my FTC video got some decent views, so some of my viewers care at least. Yeah, mine's still currently ranking at number 2 out of my last 10 videos, so yay for a trending topic. Where are we? I'm looking at the chat here. This is always interesting looking at the chat in StreamYard. To be fair, I always thought of children's directed content was always in it for the money rather than the general education and entertainment. Yes, interesting. And there is a lot of money in children's like entertainment / education. If you go back in the day, if you look at like even for Beanie will relate to this. Remember the Wiggles? I know the Wiggles are all over the world now, but remember the Wiggles? They're still getting around. They're doing their thing. Huge in children's entertainment. Huge megabucks. Another Australian export, High Five. I don't know if they're still kicking around. But look at some of these large conglomerates. They're running content. So children's content is big business. So we have to figure. So what us as creators, if we're a child creator, is figure out ways of monetizing that without breaching COPPA. Now, YouTube have complicated things by having to do these things as a result of their settlement with the FTC. So they're obligated to take the comments off and do these other things. They're obligated to do that because they can't be seen to be taking information from children. All right, where are we? Leetri said it was clear as mud. Yeah, I get after reading it, like I read it earlier today, and I'm like, okay, this is a little bit better, but overall, I think sometimes you need maybe a second somebody who can look and just give you a second opinion. So with that in mind, if you think you're in a gray area, I'm prepared to look at your channel homepage and say, well, I think, not to be construed as any sort of advice or legal information, but I'll tell you what my opinion is. And then you can take that or leave that. It doesn't matter. So if you want me to do that, then let me know in just a second. I will call for that. I'm just catching up on the chat. Pendas Puppets is here. The real money in kids' content is merchandise. Absolutely. DVDs, which I don't know if they're still a big thing. Music CDs, if they're like musical type thing. Yeah. Figurines, T-shirts, probably a whole bunch of things. Anything that you can imagine that you can personalize with that particular brand, that kids brand. iPhone covers on iPhones that say the Wiggles or whatever. Absolutely. Beanie says the question will be, if creators can't monetize kids' content, will they continue to make it or show their true colors and stop making it because they only cared about money? I think they can make the content still, and I think they can still make money. The only thing that they can't do at the moment is they're going to get that hit in ad revenue. That's AdSense, and Roberto Blake says, and everybody who has ever heard Roberto talk about this knows this. Andrew Edwards says, if you ever heard Andrew Edwards, he's a tech YouTuber. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that because he doesn't like being referred to as a YouTuber. He's on all platforms. He's a content creator. Do not rely on YouTube AdSense, and this is a classic reason why. So when you start off, it's nice and it's something to start with, but you got to find ways to monetize. You got to find ways to do that. If you're a child channel, you can sell product. You can do that stuff, but there's a way of doing it on your own website that's compliant with COPPA. You can do that. You can direct them to that. You can still be on YouTube, have kids content marked for kids, and make sure you can send them to your channel. Now, you can't use end cards. You can't use regular cards. There's a few limitations, but you can still put up on the screen. Hey, if you parents, you want to order the latest CD from Beanie and his singing dinosaurs, go to our website, beaniesingingdinosaurs.com. Direct them to the website. There's ways and means. If there's a will, there's a way, as they say in Shrek. I think it was Donkey. I'm quoting Donkey from Shrek. All right. What do we got? Children's stuff has also been big business because the parents are the ones who finance the children's dreams and wants. Yeah, absolutely. It's ultimately the parents that are paying for those goods and services that you're providing as a child content creator. So, have at it. Parents have got pockets. How do other businesses do it? They're not on YouTube. We won't go with the Toys R Us example, but there's other examples. Affiliate links. Now I can't remember what was happening with descriptions on kids' content. Oh, I've forgotten. Anybody could refresh me on descriptions because I know comments are gone, egg cards gone, uh, notifications are gone. What else is gone? Are descriptions affected? Somebody let me know. Go look it up. Give me a source. Oh, Beanie says parents trying to make money out of the kid. Are you talking about like parent content creators who are using their kids in their videos? The kids are the draw for other kids. Yeah. Ryan's Toys. That's the one. Ryan's Toys. Isn't he being like he obviously the kid loves toys, but the parents are uh shrewd enough to monetize that to the hilt. That's all I can say. I don't know too much about it otherwise. All right, what do we got here? Everyone has the right to earn income. Yeah, that's fair. And they have to do it within social norms and laws. They've been child actors, for example, for a very long time. I'm not saying it's right. Yeah, that gets to a whole sort of moral thing on should should you make your child go to dance recitals and do the acting and stuff, or is it what the child wants to do? Is it the parent putting their own wants and dreams on the children? That's a whole kettle of fish. We won't go down that path. The FTC comment period is open till December 9. December 9. D. Nimmin has confirmed descriptions are okay. Your affiliate links are good, people. Your affiliate links are good. Children's content creators, there is hope to make money apart from AdSense. Do not rely on AdSense. Watch out, the sky is falling, according to Urban Explorer. Make sure you don't have your drone in the air. It might come down as well. My problem is parents forcing kids down that route because they see money in it, or are the kids okay with it? Yeah. Well, that's for like who's to say? Like, obviously, we're saying, the parents need to take responsibility for kids watching content, but now we're saying, are the parents taking advantage of the kids to make the content? So it's just this is a whole different discussion, really. But yeah, and I think you have to look at it on a case by case basis, and the people around them have to be bold enough to say, "Hey, that's not right." If there's something wrong going there, they need to be able to stand up and say, "Hey, stop it." You know, the he's just had a coffee and he's ready to get some work done. You have an evening free. No Nimmin live, so the evening is free. Get work done, definitely. Okay. Let me turn the. I'm just clicking on comments now. All right, questions. Put your questions in the chat. Let me know if you've got questions for me, or you want me to take a quick squiz at your channel and give you my unlawful opinion. It's unlawful because I'm not a lawyer. I'm neither right nor wrong. It's just my opinion. Everybody's got one. Probably not. Probably not. I'm on StreamYard. I should drop a link, but maybe I shouldn't drop a link. Anybody want me to drop them a link? Does anybody have something meaningful to say? Where are we? Beanie's just drawing dinosaurs to be killing dinosaurs just to be safe. My opinion on Beanie's channel, I'm giving Beanie my advice without Beanie. I'd say majority of your stuff is okay. That's my opinion. You might have a couple there, like you were even telling me before that you specifically were for kids. And yeah, so I think yours are on a video by video basis, but I think by and large, your stuff's pretty good. It's for general audience, not a child audience. Because remember, kids can watch any type of video. If it's out there, they'll probably watch it, but it doesn't mean it's directed at kids. Sweeney says he'll jump in the queue. Oh, for me to do this, what I'm going to need to do, so I'm going to need to actually be on YouTube so I can click on channels. Hang on. All right, Twitch. Oh, I'm going to get rid of this Twitch panel here, so that's okay. I'm going to stop sharing my FTC document. And I'm going to need to go to my view page. I was viewing on my iPad, but now there we go. Oh, look, news. It tells me that I can do super stickers. Yes. Don't forget that there are super stickers and super chat is available on the stream. Although I did not monetize with ads. That's one thing I did not do. Just so you know. All right, where are we, Sweeney? Let's see. Gonna have to do this, do this. All right. Share the screen. I'm going to Chrome tab and I'm going to Sweeney Dunstan's channel. Share. Am I on Sweeney's channel? Yes, I am. All right, there's Sweeney's channel. I am not playing audio, I don't believe. Okay. Even though videos are playing, I'm not playing audio. All right. Let's market time. I feel like I'm doing a channel review, but it's not a channel review. Okay, so Sweeney Dunstan's channel is clearly Minecraft. So that puts us in that category where it's like, okay, is this kids content or not kids content? And I know a bit about Minecraft, so I do have I can do an opinion. So the first thing I need to do is actually go to the video page. I'm going to look at the video topics. Let's look at the video topics first of all. The recent videos. Okay, we've got a single multiplayer world of solitude, season 3, episode 6. We've got a season of a series. So this is basically let's play type content. So I don't know how I would take let's play content. Working train in Minecraft. So this is like a concepts. When it gets to concepts and doing designs and tutorials and stuff, to me, that's sort of aiming in that category where it could be probably above 13. But yeah, Minecraft for me is definitely problematic. Generally, but we're talking about this specific channel. Okay, so we've got how to craft stuff. So this is very tutorial based, but being a tutorial isn't necessarily a factor that we need to consider here. My first question would be what I should ask Sweeney. Sweeney, the first question I have for you is when you make your videos, who do you have in mind? Who is your do you ever think about maybe some people don't, but who do you think about as your target audience? Let me know in the chat. I'm looking at the chat here. But the FTC says if they determine the site is recommended for kids in blogs, other internet sources, that can be in trouble. Yeah. So if you know, that's a factor. Sweeney, have you ever been featured in a forum or a blog or anything else that is directed at kids? That's another factor. Any of your content or your channel as a whole, that is a factor as well. So that is a good point. That is a good point. Urban Explorer saying, I personally say Minecraft is for kids. Whereas I'm losing this. The chat is moving when I'm trying to click on things. Calculator says live. No, we've got one thing better than them in live. We've got me here talking about COPPA. And I say that sarcastically, of course. When I hit record, all I'm thinking, okay, this is what I'm thinking about is teaching people what I know. So okay, so that's good. You're not thinking, hey, I'm thinking of my 10-year-old brother who likes to play Minecraft. I'm making this for him. So at least it's not that. So that's a positive. That's our first positive. Now, the main problem we have with Minecraft content is like you got your characters, you got you've got your gameplay in regards to. Well, there's no real characters because everybody has their own unique skin, or you can wear your own unique skin. Not everyone's running around as Steve on Minecraft. But you got interesting characters in it, like you've got your mobs and your animals and your different things going on Minecraft. So, but you can do, at the same time you can do very technical things in Minecraft with redstone, for example. And but kids and adults alike enjoy this. Most of the content on YouTube that is made for Minecraft is made by adults, and they're not making it for children either. Like I can tell you right now, who's one of the biggest Minecraft channels on YouTube? Say Mumbo Jumbo, for example, over 4 million subscribers. He's not making them for kids. He's making them for a general audience. Like I'm one of those subscribers. I watch Minecraft content. I'm 48 years old, and I watch Minecraft content on YouTube. So that's something to consider as well. I call it I would put it in the general content. Like it looks, people judge it because of the look, because it looks blocky, it looks basic, it looks cartoony in a sense, but it's not as much as say Roblox. Roblox is way more child directed to me than say Minecraft. That's just my opinion. So we're definitely seeing that here for Sweeney's channel with Minecraft content. It's still very grey for us. Now, Sweeney, YouTube have probably not flagged anything yet. I'm gathering because they're probably still early on in their sweep. So what I would say is monitor that and see if they start flagging your videos. Keep checking that TubeBuddy tool every couple of days because we've still got time. You still got till January 1st to make a decision. So I would monitor that too. That was something I would monitor. That's my opinion on that. Where are we in the chat here? No one is safe. I think there's a lot of channels that are very safe. Like I don't consider any of my content at all whatsoever made for children. So I think I'm pretty safe. But and then there's content out there that is 100% they know for sure that they're targeting children. They're marketed as such. They're safe. They lose a lot of stuff, but they're safe. The only people that aren't safe are the people who market differently to the FTC. Thinking the way the FTC think they don't know enough about Minecraft except that kids play it. Well, how do you know that? That's the problem. We don't know. These aren't Luddites that have lived on an Amish farm all their lives. They're actually people who live in the community, and they're not the commissioners. There's probably actually staff who are actually quite competent in their jobs. So I'd say very much that some of them will be parents. They would know what Minecraft is. Some of them will be people who watch YouTube and know what Minecraft is. So to say because it's the FTC that they're boomers, is inaccurate. There's probably people who are in their 20s working for the FTC. So we're not talking about boomers. Some of them are boomers, but not all of them are boomers. Where are we? D wasn't watching in real time. D, if the right people can get the link. Anybody that I know will say will be able to point people in the right direction, and give out right information. They're like yourself, D, are welcome to join. All right, where are we? In the chat. Yeah, so Sweeney, yeah. I reserve my judgment on Minecraft content. And I think it depends on the channel. And I think it depends like if it's like a 12-year-old and they're making Minecraft content, I think by virtue of the fact that they're 12 years old means that it's directed at kids, because they're making people make things for people roughly their same age. Not always, but quite often, they're gonna gear stuff to people who are similar to them in content generally. Not always, like if you're a farmer and you're making farming content, you're making it for other farmers. You know what I mean? So all right, Mr. D. It might be easier for me to drop it in the Discord. In HQ. HQ. Mr. D. All right. If that's helpful to you in that location, of course. Where am I? I was there. Definitely monitoring. Let's go. So this is Sweeney's channel. So let's see. Definitely monitoring. Also monitoring Minecraft official channel to see what the way they go. Yeah, that's interesting. I would be monitoring the big YouTubers too, the ones that do similar content to you, whether it's like Mumbo or some of the Hermit Crafters or Doc M or those guys. Like Doc M, most of his stuff is more adult oriented when it's outside of Minecraft anyway. So, I'd monitor all those. See, because they're gonna start communicating. Oh, YouTube's starting to flag my videos, and you'll sort of hear about that, and that'll give you a general feel for what's going on, I think. So yeah, I think that's wise. Beatty says, I wonder if the official Blues Clues channel is going to mark everything as made for kids. Well, yeah, they'll have to. If on a clearly kids channel is a bit is a bit sort of, it's like, well, if they don't, then there's something wrong with them. They need to declare it. It's like you don't really have a choice if it's clear cut. It's like they just basically want people to be honest, and obviously going by the guidelines, that's not always helpful. The guidelines, as we know. Where are we? Sweeney also says 60% of my audience is over the age of 18, according to my analytics. Yeah, but remember, over 18 and over 18 will be all the parents as well. So how many of those are watching on their parents' accounts or lied about their age to get a YouTube account? So that's why we can't go by YouTube analytics. Pandas Puppet says, I was not aiming at kids, but puppets. Anything with puppets. So like hey, like the crafting side of puppets and the performance side of puppets. Anything with puppets will be considered kids. It will be illegal. Well, remember there's like the Muppets. The Muppets aren't necessarily for kids; they're for a general audience. So, and we're about to be joined by the other Nimmin, and his name is D. Welcome, D.
Hey! How's it going?
Good. It's good to have someone talking to me from the other end without just reading people's comments. It's always good to have a second.
Is the audio good?
Yeah, it sounds good from me. How's it sound to everyone else?
All right, fantastic. And let me see how I can see the chat here. Give me just one moment.
It means I have to frame myself in the smaller box.
Yeah, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, my name, in case you are not familiar with me, my name is Dan Nimmin, otherwise known as also Nick Nimmin.
Or, let me just spell that. There we go.
There we go. AKA the other Nimmin.
Before, but there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been watching this FTC thing as everybody else, watching it unfold, and it seems to be that every bit of information just kind of takes it from bad to worse. Right?
Yeah, I've been watching all sorts of content. I try and stay away from like the weird stuff. I try to go, okay, this guy's a lawyer. He might have something to say, but this, this is some random YouTuber that I never heard of. I don't, was he a gamer or is he somebody who does memes? It's like I don't even know who he is. How do I know? How do I can trust what he has to say?
Yeah, that's kind of the weird thing. If like Ian Corzine has a fantastic video on this. It's actually it's a scary video. It's quite long, but it's a good. He's a lawyer. And the other one, what is it? J House or J
House Law.
J House Law. Yeah, his video is good as well. In terms of, I mean, people are freaking out, and I think a lot of it is because they're getting their information in the wrong place. They're getting it from people who don't understand how things really work. They don't understand how law works. They don't understand how the process works in terms of the legalities involved and who's really at fault and who's going to do what. There's I've watched a lot of really bad videos, as I'm sure you have too, Doug. So I would just urge people, if you're trying to get information, like real information, try to get it from reputable sources. Try to get it from attorneys if you can, because they're going to be the ones that truly have their finger on the pulse and can decipher the legalese and how vague everything is written, because that is scary how vague everything is written. Excuse me.
It is. Legalese is hard for the mind to sort of interpret accurately.
And well, that's why people have to hire lawyers in the first place, right? If we could all understand legalese, we wouldn't need attorneys.
Absolutely.
And another thing is when you draft something up so vague, so wide, and so open that anybody could sort of fall into those cracks, that's what gives them the power. That's what gives them the authority to cherry pick channels if they want to. We don't know what their true intent is here. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but we know that based on the vagueness of how this is written, that they could pick and choose the type of channels that they want to clean house with. So it's done by design.
Absolutely. Lily Tree says, I'm getting tired of I'm deleting my channel videos. Quitters, she says.
Yeah, there have been a lot of that. I've seen, unfortunately, some rather large channels, 70,000, 100,000, 200,000, where people say, hey, I'm quitting YouTube. And now I don't know if that's for the views. They could be doing this for the views, which is really disappointing, kind of shameful, I think, if that's the case. But if they do quit the platform, I think it's unfortunate, unless, even then, I think it's unfortunate, because if you do have kids' content, if you can say, my content is made for children, I know this for a fact, it's made for children under the age of 13. Maybe I have doll videos and I'm trying to attract a younger audience. If you know that to be the case, I would still ride it out. I would still ride it out, because you don't know what the backside of this could entail. Like we know what you're going to lose. We know that you're going to get, you're going to lose all of these features, but we don't know exactly, we don't know how the chips are exactly going to fall for those channels down the road. YouTube could, because YouTube isn't just a single algorithm. YouTube is a series of algorithms. And we don't know what kind of new algorithm or algorithms are going to be created to help these types of channels that have been kind of shut off from everybody else. So I wouldn't throw in the towel just yet if you're a kid's channel. Hang in there. Mark your videos appropriately, but hang in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I know. I don't know how many of those channels are actually that want to quit. Are they actually all kids type channels? They're quitting because of their revenue loss, or are they quitting because they're losing their comments, or is there some other types of channels because they fall into that vague category?
A mix, but one channel in particular that kind of made sense to me. She makes contents where she dresses up dolls and does all of these things with dolls. It clearly, I mean, by the thumbnails, by the type of content that she creates, it's clearly for children type of channel, right? There's no getting around it. Her thing was, she says, look, I would do this for free. I love doing what I'm doing, but I'm losing the ability to communicate with you, the viewers. She built a community around her channel, and the community to her was the most important thing. And now that she's going to lose the community, she said, if I don't have the community, if I can't communicate with you, I have no interest in doing this. Like, I would do it for free. It's not about the money. It's just that I can't communicate with you. So when they remove that, then I'm out.
That's pretty much what Beanie was saying before. For him, it's like if he lost that ability to be able to communicate or get that feedback.
Yeah.
He gets people appreciating the art.
Yeah.
It's like he does. That's his motivation to continue going. It's not the money. It's the feedback that people are appreciating his art.
It's the feedback, but it goes a little bit deeper too. I know, Doug, you and I on my test channel, we talked one time about being an introvert.
Yeah.
And think about the type of people, the number of people out there who are introverts. Maybe they're extreme introverts on the far end, and they stay at home. They stay at home, and their community, their friends, their family, their social network is all done online. Because for an introvert, that's kind of how it works. For a lot of us these days, our social network is done online. That's our online community.
Yeah.
If that's your lifeline, to other people, what if you're disabled? And this has given you a chance to connect with people all around the world, and you went from someone who's disabled, and I'm not talking about, you have like a crooked leg or something. I mean, maybe you're disabled and you're stuck inside. Yeah. I know there's some people who I communicate with who watch my channel, and they're legitimately stuck indoors. They can't fly, they can't travel. Their entire communication, their entire social network is now online. And for those people who have those channels, if they are kid-based and they are going to get cut off from that community, I think that's absolutely heartbreaking, because it's given people a sense of belonging to that community, even though it's an online community. And I think if you take that away from people, I think that's terrible. That being said, that doesn't mean that you can't pivot. That doesn't mean that you can't start a new channel. That doesn't mean that you can't make a video right now. If you know you're going to lose all these features, if you know you're going to lose the community aspect of your channel, you could go on the offensive today, right now, start sending out tweets, start sending out Facebook messages, start posting on your stories, start making new videos on your current channel, telling people you're creating a new channel over here because you want to stay in contact with the community. This one's not going to be for children in any way, shape, or form, and start pushing people over to that new platform. You still have time. That's what I would be doing right now if I knew that my channel was going to lose the ability to connect with my community.
Yeah. So many implications.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy.
There are a lot of implications that I think people aren't thinking about in terms of, I guess, people who are stuck at home, people who are extreme introverts.
Yeah. I think sometimes the only thing we can do is at least communicate, how this is affecting people or how it affects you personally, at least to the FTC, at least as an opportunity. If they didn't have that open time for commenting, because they're updating COPPA, we wouldn't even have that opportunity to communicate that. So at least there's that open opportunity, and they got that. I think it was Jeremy at J House Law was able to talk to them to get that extended to January 9, because it was supposed to close up last month.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him.
Yeah.
So
I want to address
something we can do. Yeah.
I want to address something that's being said in the chat right now. So I see Car Galaxy Studios and Beanie talking about Daryl's last video. Beanie says, Daryl's video is saying because of YouTube's new terms, and he goes on to say the latest video is ill-informed. Here's what I think happened here. Daryl's probably the most informed person that you're going to find with YouTube. I think he made this video before YouTube, because a lot of times, people will batch their content. I think this video was made before they clarified things, and I'm not even sure that he even knows that this is out. I'm not sure. But the information has been updated in terms of what YouTube has, how they've clarified what they meant by that. And then this video came out. So I'm not really sure if he knows exactly what's going on or if he batched this one. Not sure yet. But yes, Beanie, you're correct. It is not up to date.
And he did go over more than just that one
Yes.
commercially viable clause. He went over a few other clauses.
Right.
That were all around that whole termination thing.
Right.
And remember, the terms of service already had a lot of clauses in it for reasons for terminating channels. They're just sort of updating that to reflect what's happening right now. And obviously some of it's to do with the FTC and COPPA. Some of it's just to do with other things that they're working on to be up to date. So it's, they've always been able to terminate you at will. But usually they give you like their warning most of the time.
Yeah. So this is something, how many times do you install an app? How many times when you join a new platform, be it Twitch or Mixer or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever the platform of the week is, every time you hit I agree, right? Nobody goes in and nobody reads the fine print in there, but every time you hit I agree, or yes, I agree, you're agreeing to their terms and services. And in probably in every one of those cases, there will be a clause in there that they can terminate your account for any reason. Any lawyer, any lawyer worth his weight is going to put that in there just to protect the platform.
Oh yeah, any business has terms and conditions for a platform, for an app, for other stuff. Like you get clauses. You sign up for like a mobile phone. There's a whole page of terms and conditions. Is when you go to like your shop, whether it's T-Mobile or Sprint or Vodafone here in Australia, Telstra. You sign a contract for your phone. There's a whole lot of terms and conditions. Do you ever read those? I don't. I've signed a bunch of them, but
no.
They tell you generally what it's about, but you don't sit there in the store and read through them. So it's like, and that's on you because you signed it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, all of that stuff falls back on us just because, and you can say, oh, it's not fair. I didn't do anything. I didn't break the rules. Well, yeah, you actually did. And that big pile of paperwork that you just said, yeah. And you just signed your name to it. You signed away your rights there. You signed away your legal rights. So that's how these companies, especially these large media platforms, get away with it. And there's other things involved too. Like when you have media platforms that are accepting user-generated content, that means content from Doug or from you or from me or whoever, user-generated content, that opens up all kinds of other legalities that they have to cover themselves for. So they're going to add even more things into the terms of service that you wouldn't see normally if you were just trying to join Netflix.
All sorts of things. I'm just trying to keep up with the chat as we're talking here. But like even you can apply that to as a content creator. If you start getting brand deals, you've got contracts involved. You've got to be reading those.
Yeah. So I just signed something that took almost a month to tons of back and forth because of little changes here, little changes there. But it's those little changes that can get you. It's those little changes where people can end up using your content indefinitely on their channel for no extra money. I mean, especially if you start getting into brand deals, you have to look into every single line of every single thing in the contract. And if you don't know what it means, you need to get with somebody who does. Because it's those little things. That's funny. The Urban Explorer says, I wish I would have read the marriage agreement before I signed it.
I can't even. Oh, there it is. I was going to put that up. There we go.
That's funny.
Kevin says fine print is important for contracts for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's how some people get the shaft.
Yep. Absolutely. We've got any questions in the chat? If you got a question, it's your time to ask myself or D. Pop it in the chat right now. Words are always tricky, says the Tree. Sure are. Especially when you get with lawyers. They're very tricky. What does this big word mean? I have no idea. Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to say something in terms. So we talked about the vagueness of the language that's being used here, and if you look at historical matters in the U.S. and things that usually involve courts and obscenity and that sort of thing. So back in I think it was it the 60s or the 70s? Let me look it up right here so I make sure I do it right. The phrases. Okay, 1964. U.S. Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart said this. So back then there was a court case involving an obscenity law in the state of Ohio. Basically, somebody thought something was obscene, and we're not going to get into that, but something was obscene by this particular group. They were charged with obscenity, and they tried to define obscenity, and they couldn't. And the Supreme Court Justice said, and this is exactly what he says. He says, I can't tell you what it is, but I know it when I see it. I can't tell you what it is, but I know it when I see it. And what that has done for the U.S. courts in terms of trying to define obscenity, anytime there's a problem with, I don't know, some sort of an adult natured club or website or whatever, that vagueness is what allows them to prosecute and to get convictions, because I know it when I see it. I can't tell you what it is, therefore we don't have to define it, but I know it when I see it. Like, they get away with that. I don't know how they get away with it, but they get away with that.
Yeah.
So the same thing is being applied, with the FTC and COPPA. They can't tell you exactly what's for children, but when it comes to your website or when it comes to your channel, they know it when they see it.
Yeah. They know what they're looking for, but they can't explain it in words.
Exactly. They can't tell you, but that's what gives them. That's how they're able to do this stuff. That's how they continually get away with stuff. When you read those, sometimes you read those news stories and you're like, how is this even possible? Well, it's because of legal languages. They leave things so wide open sometimes.
Absolutely.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. Quantum Gaming says, do you think the meeting Creelcraft, is it Creecraft?
Creecraft.
We'll have, I don't even know who Creecraft is. I have no clue. We'll have the FTC will make a difference. Well, all I know is there's probably a number of creators who are meeting or have met with the FTC. Like we know Jeremy from J House Law's been to Washington, probably a bunch of other people. They're just giving their feedback in person, really. That's all I see it as.
I don't know. See, here's what we don't know. We know that they extended the deadline from January 9th to January 1st, or December 9th to January 1st. We know they extended the deadline. That means that they are at least open to hearing what we have to say. Now, are they doing this because they're genuinely interested in what we have to say? Or they're just like, yeah, a couple of weeks aren't going to matter. Let's just shut them up like we want to hear what we have to say. We don't know. We don't know what their true intentions are. Right. Yeah. I mean, I hate to put on a tinfoil hat here, but like you really don't know when it comes to the U.S. government what their game plan is. It's easier just to say, yeah, go ahead and tell us how you feel. We'll take it into consideration, and then everybody vents, and then they pass the law anyway. Then it's right back to where you started. In terms of, hey, Andrew Can, how's it going? In terms of Creekcraft,
Andrew Can.
I watched his video where he said he's going to Washington. He seems like an articulate young man. I hope that when he goes there, I hope that he is on point. I hope he has something well put together to say that represents creators as a whole. I hope he, because I don't know him, but I hope he does good by us. I hope he says the right things. I don't think one person alone is going to make anybody go, oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, let's change this whole thing around. But he might be able to say one thing that might make them say, oh yeah, we never thought about that about gaming. Or, oh yeah, gaming. Yeah, we never thought about Minecraft characters, or we never thought about Fortnite skins. Yeah, thanks for bringing that to our attention. So he might be able to bring up a couple of things, but I don't think he's going to change anything massily.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
I just hope when he gets there, he uses his real name and not say, "Hey, I'm Creecraft." Okay, what?
Yeah, and that's the other thing. So the video that I watched, he had this like, I don't even know what color it was now. It was like blue or pink or green thing on his head that was like hanging down. It was not something that you would put it this way. I hope he cleans up and presents himself well. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's what I'm worried about.
Because he definitely looks like a unique young gentleman, which I fully support. But when you're standing in front of, the FTC in Washington, you should probably clean up, and I hope he does. I'm sure he will. My guess is he probably look. If I'm going to Washington, I'm going to meet with an attorney, and I'm going to sit down. I'm going to say, what do I do? How do I present this? How do I put this together? And I would kind of follow his lead there. So hopefully he does the same thing.
Andrew Can, yes, you're allowed to use your screen name.
You can do that.
We'll let you. Anybody got any wild screen names from gaming days? Let us know in the chat.
I've never really been a gamer that, like, Nick's a gamer. Nick loves to game. He absolutely loves gaming. The last time I was like serious about gaming was like the original Nintendo, with back like Super Mario Brothers, Donkey Kong, Contra, Legend of Zelda, like the original stuff, right? That I was into gaming when I was a kid, but as an adult, every now and then I'll get like, I have Call of Duty, I have some other games, but I don't get into it.
Yeah, it's like a whole culture, the gaming thing.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago when my kids were growing up, when they were like sort of like teens, probably like
Right.
early teens, maybe sort of, late kid, early teens, sort of starting high school. And on Beanie will know who I'm talking about. There's a show on ABC called Good Game, and a couple of hosts that they have, and they're all using they don't use their real names, they use their screen names. And to me at the time, that was like, okay, that's a bit weird, but that's the culture. That's what they do. Everybody has a screen name if they're playing online games. They're relating to each other on screen names. All the YouTubers now, they have screen names. For Minecraft, everybody has their own avatar with their unique Minecraft name. So yeah, it's a big thing, and it's one of those things. All right, who's in the chat still?
There is one game that I played pretty heavily for a while. So I had an office in Los Angeles. This is a long time ago. But when Team Fortress came out, if you guys remember Team Fortress, we used to play after hours. We were four of us that used to play after hours in the office for hours and hours and hours playing Team Fortress. That was great. Scully, you're 50?
50. Is that your screen name or is that your age?
Your screen name or your age?
Beanie knows who I was talking about. R.I.P. Barjo. Yeah, he was one of the hosts of the show that my kids used to watch. And they had like an adult version and a kids version. So it was like two different programs.
Now, Doug, you're into Minecraft, right?
Yeah, that's how I got into YouTube, is playing Minecraft. And I was watching Minecraft on YouTube and then, hey, I think I can do that. Did a Minecraft channel, and that's sort of where I wet my feet and sort of got interested in YouTube itself.
Okay.
So yes. So I had a screen name.
That's cool. Lily Tree says after hours, of course. I'm guessing you're talking about playing Team Fortress. Yeah, I was the boss, so it was pretty much whenever I said it's time to play. All right, guys, stop what you're doing. It's time to play Team Fortress. Well,
it is Scully's age, not his. Says he looks so young. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, you do, man. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Holding it together well, my friend. Good job.
Beanie says you look 16.
Right.
There you go.
I love it.
Ooh. Bill's Minecraft channel with thrills and kills. Yeah. The old PvP on Minecraft was not my strong point.
Urban Explorer says I was called the throbbing donkey when I was on the CD radio. I'm not even going to ask, man. It just
CD radio. Is that when you were like making your own radio programs in your bedroom? Is that what a CD radio is?
Like ham radio or something?
I think you're recording it to a CD, disc. Gee, that's like when I was doing it was on cassette, back in the day, 2 cassette players, play the song off the radio, hit record, hit stop.
Those were the days.
Make a mixtape.
Those were the days, huh? The
Oh, yeah.
mixtapes.
I remember when I was a kid, we used to hang out in my room. I used to listen on, I think it was Saturdays or something. And they used to have the American Top 40 on one of the stations here. It was on like satellite replay. And so we get all the latest songs from the US, the top 40. And this is the 80s. So this is like, Madonna and all that sort of good stuff.
Good times, man.
Studio Geek 32 is here. Hello. He plays a lot of video games. That's to be expected, I reckon.
He says, I do not. He says, I do not. I do not play a lot of video games.
I'm reading it wrong. Too busy making songs and playing the piano.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Sammy.
Cool. Yeah.
Sammy has the music gene inside of him. He's spending all of his waking hours playing music. That's cool.
Scully was 40 in his picture, so that was a few years ago. Okay.
And he still looks 16.
Do you think the YouTube or the FTC will continue to further clarify the information that we're given? Well, we hope so. I don't know if YouTube can do much. The FTC need to give more clarity. And after that one they put out yesterday, I don't see them sort of pushing that too much further. They can't be too precise.
Here's what I think is going to happen. Like you said, they just released. What was it yesterday? They just released another one. Was that yesterday or today?
It was like 1 p.m. Friday Eastern time.
So I think they might, at the very most, they might give us one more release because they are accepting comments. They are still hopefully taking some of these things into consideration, and we do still have a handful of weeks left. So hopefully they will come out and clarify things just a little bit better. Now, that's me being wishful there. If I know my government, they're probably not going to do that because, like we talked about, that vagueness gives them the power to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
And they could get it on a per channel basis. This particular Minecraft channel, we don't care about you, but this Minecraft channel, wow, they're a big one. I bet we can get money out of this one. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. Who knows? All this stuff is it's all so up in the air. We really don't know what's going to happen.
That's it. Andrew says YouTube can do more in ways of communication. Oh, they can always communicate better, that's for sure. And features they offer us to help themselves. I'm sure they've got some stuff in the works. I'm sure they've got some sort of workaround stuff that's going to take them more time to actually implement. Like this is stuff they have to implement now to comply with their settlement, but they've got probably can do other stuff that will still help them be probably more effectively compliant with COPPA.
Yeah,
just nice stuff they got to design, write code for, all that sort of thing.
We don't know, and I don't know if it's even made public. Because I know a lot of settlements and that sort of thing, you can find public information on this, and I bet some of the lawyers are digging into this as we speak. Yeah. But we don't know the full agreement between YouTube and the FTC from their previous fine of $170 million. We don't know exactly. And when that fine was levied against them, the $170 million, we knew that changes might be coming, but we didn't know this was coming. So there could be like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because you can't implement all of this stuff overnight. It takes time. YouTube is a enormous network. And it's not just YouTube, it's Google as well. So it's YouTube and Google. So they're going to have to implement things across both google.com and anywhere where they collect user content, as well as YouTube. So I would say, like, as terrible as this is, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another wave coming that we're just completely unaware of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Andrew says they're dealing with lawyers on all decisions going forward. So that slows things down. That's like, it takes time to nut things out, make changes, does this fit what we're allowed to do? Is this acceptable? The lawyers say yes. The lawyers say no, go back, fix that, fix this.
Right.
It's a lot of back and forth. Absolutely.
Yeah, my guess is, I mean, $170 million. I mean, that's a huge amount of money, but to Google, it's probably not that big, even though it was okay, $170 million. That was the largest fine by the FTC ever in the history of the FTC by far.
Yeah.
It's astronomical fine by the FTC. But for Google, I mean, yeah, that hurt them a little bit, but that's like, that's like me and Doug dropping $17. Google makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
That being said, they can't continue to spend that kind of money on fines. So I would, what Andrew said makes sense. They're going to have to, every step forward, now they know the FTC is watching them like a hawk. They're going to be very careful about each step that they take. And we also know this. We know that YouTube needs creators. I know a lot of channels say YouTube hates small creators. YouTube hates small channels. YouTube doesn't put my content in front of people. And none of that has to do with YouTube coming down on small creators. That's actually you and how you're making your content. But we know YouTube likes creators. YouTube needs creators to upload content based on their current platform, how they're doing things currently. So it makes sense for them to do everything they can to make things easier for us to comply with those rules. That being said, they also have, they can't say your content is for kids or it's not for kids. They can't be legally held responsible for that. If I say, if I'm YouTube and I say Beanie Draws, your content is not for children. And then the FTC says, hey, Beanie Draws, your content is for children. And you say, but YouTube marked it that way. And YouTube says I'm okay. Well, guess who's going to get sued again? YouTube's going to take that hit, and they're not going to do that. But I will say I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that YouTube did not give everybody, when they said, here, look at these things to help you decide if your content is directed for children or not. They didn't give us all of the things that the FTC said previously. I was a little bit disappointed when I came across that. The survey of how to determine if your content is for children or not. YouTube kind of held back on some of that information, and that makes it
seems to be quite brief.
Yeah. And I am disappointed that that YouTube themselves, they don't have some clarity for gaming, considering the amount of gaming that's on the platform, considering the amount of gamers that are probably completely freaking out and contacting their channel partners and hitting them up every way they can hit them up. I'm surprised they haven't had some clarity for gaming. And the only thing that I can think of is that they themselves might not know.
Yeah.
They might say, hey, we can't say, we're going to have to wait and see what the FTC does.
All right. Just catching on the chat here. A few people in love with the TubeBuddy COPPA tool that they put out. That's quite handy.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just keep checking it, because obviously YouTube's still doing their sweeps. It's going to take time. So just keep checking that tool every week.
Yeah, from what I understand, the AI has been hitting videos, marking them for children, not for children, based on what the AI thinks. As TubeBuddy will scan your videos, it will tell you who marked those videos as being child safe or not. And like for me, mine were marked by me. So it says that I'm the one who marked those. Now, I haven't checked with TubeBuddy yet, and Andrew's in here right now, so you might be able to add some clarity to this. But if it's marked as you, is that based on the initial markings that came in with that? Because when I first logged in to look at all of mine, before I looked at the TubeBuddy, or before I ran the TubeBuddy tool, they were already marked. They were already marked, not for kids. So then when I ran the TubeBuddy thing, it says, not for kids, determined by you. So I didn't actually go through and individually do those. So I'm a little bit unsure of how that's being interpreted there.
Andy Marshall's has come in. He was just mentioning what we were talking about before, about a lot of creators stopping making content. So yeah, we were talking about that before, Andy. Thanks for joining the stream.
Hey, Andy, how's it going, man?
That's all happening. A lot of conversation in the chat. I'm just seeing this. Sometimes I have to highlight it so I can read it. So
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for that clarity.
All right. Okay. Where are we? Is it this one here? They give clarity because FTC will take that as them giving a stance.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's looked at as giving legal advice, whether you say that it's not legal advice, and that's why in YouTube's video they're even very clear to say if you need help, go see a lawyer. Not like if you need help, go see your mum. Go see a lawyer because this is important.
Yeah. Well, they have to. Yeah. They risk being fined yet again.
Yep. That's why they can't give any more guidance other than what the FTC has given them. To automatically, if YouTube automatically mark, okay, if you set your channel made for kids, that's what. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense, Andrew. Thank you. Yeah, I was curious about that, how that was actually calculating who marked it.
Andrew Can, so the tool is supposed to find videos YouTube is automatically marked for kids despite us manually. Yeah, it's basically just letting you know, hey, here's all the videos that have been marked safe for kids, and here's all the videos that you've marked not safe for kids. YouTube's done these ones, you've done these ones. So as Andrew says, it shows both. So yeah,
perfect.
It's a
great tool, man. They rushed that out too. I love that. On top of it, go TubeBuddy. That's one thing I really love about TubeBuddy, man. You guys are so helpful with the community. Like you didn't have to make this tool. You could have made this tool for paid users, but you didn't. It's a free tool. Everybody gets access to it, no matter what your level is, and you rushed it out within days. So yeah, that's TubeBuddy for you.
Super quick. Yeah, I haven't heard of any other tool like that. So
no,
TubeBuddy. And I even mentioned it earlier in the stream. I even had a banner there. There we go. Reminding people to, if they haven't got TubeBuddy already, download it. Get your channel connected. Even if it's the free version, jump on it.
Yeah.
And if you like what you see, the other features, sign up. There's a link in my description if you're looking for that as well. So go use that. Little plug for TubeBuddy. That's always good.
Well, that thing about TubeBuddy that I find really frustrating, and I know Andrew, you get it too, and Doug, because you're in the education space, you probably get it too, is people will leave comments, or maybe you'll see something on Reddit or something in a Facebook post where they'll say things like, I installed TubeBuddy and I didn't get extra views. This, like they don't understand how it works. So if you don't have TubeBuddy, first of all, I urge you to put it in. It is free to check out. Secondly, though, please spend some time to learn how to use it. There's plenty of resources online. I'm sure Doug and Andrew both have videos on that. Take the time to learn how to use it, learn what it can do. It's a tool. It's a tool like everything else. If you're going to go build a house, you're going to need a set of tools to build a house. TubeBuddy can help you build a house, but it's not going to build it for you.
Exactly. Now, amazingly, I've never done a video on TubeBuddy as yet on my channel.
Oh, you should.
Amazing. I know I should.
Yeah, you should.
I should. I think I've even done a morning fame video once or twice. No, I did live stream a morning fame. That's what I did. Like I've plugged them in live streams before, both tools. Absolutely. So I know I've plugged them in live streams, but never done a dedicated video on TubeBuddy. So yeah, I'm going to put that on my list. I'll have to pick something to focus on.
Doug, I'll tell you right now, you focus on that new tool. It'd be a short video. It would probably be like 2 minutes in length, and you need some sort of a title and some sort of a thumbnail where you frame it around how to tell if your content is for kids or not. You need to frame it that way. Like look and see how people are searching, and it's going to be like a 2-minute video, and then tell them to go down to the description. First of all, you could flash it up on the screen with your / whatever your affiliate link is, and then link to it, but don't link to it below the fold on a desktop.
Yeah.
Make sure it's above the show more so everybody can see it.
That's good.
Yeah. I thought about hopping on that yesterday. Like when I saw Andrew's video come out, I actually did a screen recording and I was going to do it, but then I made one video on the FTC and this whole thing, but like that's not what my channel is about. Like I made a video about it. I talked about it, and I showed them how to handle it as a mobile creator, how to go into the YT Studio app and handle it as a mobile creator if you don't have access to a desktop. That's as far as I wanted to take it. What I don't want to happen, I don't want to get hundreds or even thousands of subscribers that are not interested in mobile, but they are interested in this because it's just not a good fit for my channel. So as much as I would love to have those views and as much as I'd love to get the watch time and everything else, it's just not a good fit for me. But for you, Doug, that's a great video, and I would get on that tomorrow.
Yeah, that's something to note at 2:20 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, seriously.
I started at midnight. I started at midnight my time, so I've been rolling for 2 hours and 26 minutes. It just goes. Whenever I live stream, it just, oh dear, 2 hours.
Andrew says he's also going live with that video tomorrow. Yeah, like listen, all you guys should go live with that video tomorrow because people need it. People need to know. People need to make that. How do I know? How can I tell? Well, this is going to help you tell.
Yeah.
And if you guys,
that's an easy video to do because it's a very simple process.
It's an easy video to do, and it's a lot of you are making that video. You can probably get put into suggested as like the next video and that sort of thing. So I think the timing is fantastic on that.
Absolutely. Oh, probably way back in the chat now.
I love the strategic side of coming up with videos and video ideas and stuff like that. Like as I'm watching you guys both talk about how you're doing that video, I'm just like, oh yeah, go. Like I'm just trying to think about how you guys could like really kind of just own that position. I love it.
Sometimes for me, it's like I have no, I don't have any inclination to do a video. Then all of a sudden, I just get an idea, and I'll just run with the idea. It doesn't help with like planning and getting that one video after another, like in a series or anything like that. But at least sometimes there's something inspired, and you can jump on it, and it's good. But
I really lucked out with mine. Because I know strategically where they talk about, binge watching content, right? Like get them watching one video, get them to watch another video. But by default, the niche that I'm in is mobile creator. So by default, they almost always watch additional videos. So as long as it's something that makes sense, so if it's something that's cross-platform, if it's specifically Android or specifically iOS, if the additional videos after that are also iOS or also Android specific, it's easier to hand them off because they're looking for mobile information. So by default, I really lucked out there. That was not planned, by the way. I didn't think that through. It just sort of happened. And as it evolved, I was like, well, that actually kind of worked out. I don't have to put too much work into getting them to binge watch. And then when I do strategically add something, like a playlist or something, it's just, slam dunk.
Nice. Studio Geek 32 says, I'm thinking of making a video about what does a teenager think of FTC. Yeah, well, it's good for raising awareness. I know that's something that Nick said in his video was to, get out there, make a video to raise awareness.
Technically, he didn't say that.
Didn't he?
He wrote that.
He didn't say that. You're right.
He wrote that down.
He didn't say anything.
Right.
He didn't say anything. It's amazing how many people thought he was just doing that as a gimmick. It was a gimmick that he couldn't speak.
So the funny thing about that, so we're sitting at Starbucks and we're talking about the idea of making that video. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about, doing this. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, here's an idea. And I'm like, do you remember? So Bob Dylan originally did this video back in the day where he's holding these signs and he's outside and he's dropping one sign after another as the words go by. And then later on, the group NXS did a similar video. They paid like do you know what I'm talking about? The video, they're holding the sign and they would drop the sign and like the lyrics would be there. I was like, dude, listen, we need to go outside and we need to recreate like the original Bob Dylan or the NXS video. And you're holding this. I was like, we'll do it exactly. And he's like, yeah, maybe. And then like that night, he was like, hey, I'm publishing. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I made the video. And then he ended up doing it that way. So whatever, it still worked. But it was just, yeah. In my mind, I'm like, yeah, let's do something really big. And he's like, nah, gonna do it at home. You can kick rocks as you usually do.
Yeah. Well, it was effective, and just the
No,
the,
it
the,
was. It
the
was
tone
good.
of the music, the music that went with it, it just created it like a mood.
Yeah.
It was a lot of it was a lot of people who were like just moved by the actual presentation of the video, and then it made the message more powerful to them. So yeah, and that's what it did to me. It made me stop, get off, set up my camera, record a video, edit,
Yeah.
put it up that same night, go to bed at 3 a.m.
Yeah, no, it worked out. I think he did a really good job.
Yeah.
I'm just glad he got it out, and I'm glad I didn't have to do anything to help. I'm glad he was able to do that and just get it up.
We got it done. Yeah.
Yeah, it turned out.
You see, Sweeney loved it. There we go. Bob Dylan's probably a little bit. I don't know. I can't say it's a bit before my time, but I've never really got into Bob Dylan. But yeah, I know what you mean. But In Excess, everybody knows. Yeah, us Aussies, In Excess. Michael
Oh
Hudson.
yeah. Yeah, I don't remember the song that was in.
No, I
but,
don't remember the song either. But yeah. But
I'm actually gonna look. Yeah, I'm gonna look it up right now. So
like the creativity of those music videos back in sort of the 80s and into the 90s, sort of came out of the. Like they probably started, some late 70s bands started doing some clips, but I know music video clips were huge when I was in high school in the 80s. We used to go roller skating, and it was like, was it which song from Madonna was it? That we used to go like around in circles in the roller skating rink, but it was like Madonna's, the one with all the guys in the tuxedos. I can't remember which song it was.
Material Girl.
Material Girl, of course, it's Material Girl. That era, like Ghostbusters and all that sort of era and that sort of music. Those videos were huge back then.
So the video that NXS made with the signs, it's called Mediate.
Yeah, it's probably not one of their main songs. I don't.
Oh yeah, it is. It's one of their main songs, and he's standing in this like industrial type area, and there's like trucks and stuff driving in the background, and like the band members take turns holding these signs. And as the lyrics go by, they're just like, switching the signs. Yeah. It's clever.
Yeah, it's well done.
Yeah.
It's well done. And probably the one that Beanie would maybe appreciate from that era would be Aha, Take On Me. That was all like animated pencil.
God, that was such a great song.
Yeah, it was a well done video clip too. But yeah, it's still getting a run today, that song. People are playing it. And the original too, not just like remakes. So yeah. So
Andrew says here, did you see Andrew's comment? He says, if a video at any point has had the opportunity to have reached kids, unlisted or private videos with views you could get affected. Yeah. I see a lot of people saying, oh, I just marked my videos as private. That's not gonna save you.
I say it's on a public video sharing service. If YouTube can see it, then the FTC is probably going to be able to see it.
Well, sure. I mean, here's what we know. We know that the copyright. We know for the AI, they can flag a copyright issue. So if you're using somebody's video or somebody's music or something like that, you're private. They can flag you while you're in private. So we know the AI can see your content frame by frame.
Yep.
While it's in private, so you can rest assured that they're going to be able to see for this as well. And I would not be surprised. I mean, think about this. We're talking about Google and YouTube, and we're talking about the FTC. Here's what we know. We know for sure that the FTC is not going to be anywhere as technically up to speed as Google. So my bet is that in their agreement, part of the agreement is whatever the FTC does have, they're going to be able to backdoor through YouTube to use their AI to monitor content, or they're just going to sit in directly and help you and use the API, use the AI as well. I'm getting tired.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're gonna have access to that because the FTC, they don't have the manpower to look at this stuff manually, and you don't have the technical know-how like Google does to be able to look at this content. So,
and how many third parties would be out there to be capable of the job? Like
normally
they'd probably hire that out to something like Google,
exactly. Exactly. Like they would outsource. Like if the FTC is going to do that, and if they're not going to use YouTube's AI, then they're going to outsource this to a company, which they could do, which they could do. There might be another company out there who can do this, but they will work with Google on this for sure. I mean, it's going to be part of the agreement. They're not going to be butting heads on this. This is part of the agreement that they came to. That $170 million was probably, it would have probably been a lot higher if they wouldn't have agreed to some terms.
True. Andrew says something interesting here. Deleting videos doesn't look better either. Could be seen as an admission of guilt. If you weren't targeting kids, why remove the content? That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, but when it's gone, it's gone. Like the whole thing is, if it's on the platform and you are appealing to kids, then that's where you can have a problem. Like I would rather have deleted but the same thing is, it's not like you're in trouble. This is where I think when people are panicking and like, I'm deleting my videos. Why? Just mark them correctly.
Yeah.
If you know your content is for children, mark it for children, and then run with it. Like if you delete your videos though, I mean, it's gone. I mean, yeah, there's always some backup somewhere, but it's gone. It's off platform. Children cannot be exposed to it. So you're not going to have any problems there.
I know Kevin mentioned, what about marking videos 18 plus? And that's a restricted setting. Now, the funny thing that happened that I noticed is when they rearranged everything in the upload screen and on the video page, they put the audience setting front and center, and right underneath it, a separate section that is not really, it looks like it could be part of the same section as about age restriction. And you pull that little menu down and you can actually mark your video as age restricted content, like 18 plus. Which is a dangerous thing, because I talked to a couple of people on Facebook who actually did that, and they're panicking. They couldn't change it back, and they realized that their video is getting little to no ads because it gets restricted. They're not getting the reach that they had because it's been restricted into who it's been shared with. So they're like panicked, like, well, don't change that setting. Whatever you do, don't use that setting. It's not gonna save you from COPPA because it has nothing to do with COPPA. It's
right.
A separate YouTube thing.
Yes. I've had people say the same thing. Like, well, I've set all my videos or I've age restricted my videos. Like that. Stop. This isn't what this is about. This isn't about 18 and under. This isn't about age restricting. This is about under the age of 13. So from 13 to 18, like, you don't have to worry about that. So you do not have to age restrict your videos. That's not what this is about. And even if you do age restrict your videos, the AI is still going to see if your content is labeled correctly or not. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah. There we go. Andrew Marshall, YouTube Studio says, I have no under 13 watching my content. Well, that's because they don't track they can't tell if people are under 13 because nobody can sign into the platform under 13. So, analytics on your audience isn't going to be accurate in regards to kids, because they could be watching on their parents' account and their parents could be 30 years old. So it's going to say a 30-year-old's watching, So using your YouTube analytics to find your audience isn't going to help you with that. The rest of the question says, I created kids' books as a creator illustrator channel, but I still think those videos may need to be listed as kids. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Also on a video by video basis, you really got to use your best judgment.
So Andy he creates books and characters that could be appealing to kids. And I think he's definitely in a gray area. And Andy, here's the thing, YouTube, and this is what got them in trouble, is they were illegally collecting data on people under the age of 13. They were illegally collecting data on children when they shouldn't do it. And they're not giving us data on anyone under the age of 13 because they can't. They couldn't legally do that. So that's why they got in trouble. They were illegally collecting it, but they weren't legally sharing, or they weren't illegally sharing it with us. So when you look at 13, it stops there in all your analytics. I see a lot of people running to their analytics and they're saying, oh, I don't have any under 13 watching, so I'm safe. It's not about that. It's about the intent of who you made your videos for. If you made your video for the target audience of someone who's under the age of 13, that's where you probably need to mark your content for children. But in your situation, Andy, because you are writing children's books, you are drawing characters that could be appealing to children. I'm not a lawyer. I don't think even a lawyer could tell you right now. I think you're in a very uncomfortable gray area at the moment. Yeah, you're going to have to wait and see. I I will say this though, I do know someone who panicked. They marked all of their videos for kids, and then they tried to unmark them for kids. So from what they told me, and I didn't look at this firsthand, from what they told me, they panicked, marked all their contents for kids, all their videos for kids, and they immediately, like, their comments and everything were disabled, like, instantly. I don't know. This is what they told me. And then they talked to me and some other people, and they realized, like, oh, you sharpen chainsaws on your channel. You're clearly not for kids. So they went back and they labeled everything correctly, and then they said the comments never came back. Like, so I don't know. Yeah. So be careful.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess I didn't. That's just what somebody told me. Somebody was talking to me what happened to their channel. I didn't see this firsthand, so I don't know if that's possible. But according to them, that's what happened.
Sweeney mentions, what about turning off interest-based ads? And I read something about this, because that's the same ads that they're talking about, the targeted ads, because
that's happening anyway.
Interest. Yeah, they're doing that when you mark that thing, and if you mark that but not the other one, then you're still not complying with COPPA, because now YouTube's required that FTC's required that YouTube and all content creators fill that particular section of your video out for every single video, regardless of whatever other settings you might have on that video. So you can press it, but ultimately it's what you've marked your video in the COPPA section or the audience section is what FTC is going to be looking at, in addition to your actual content.
So Andrew said they tested that yesterday on TubeBuddy's video, but they didn't lose anything.
Okay.
So yeah, there you go. So I don't know. Like I said, it was just somebody told me, and they panicked. They said, I don't have comments anymore, and they turned it back. And they didn't have them. So who knows? I don't know if having a brand channel matters, or I have no idea. Like, we're in new territory here. So yeah, who knows? Beanie, make a test. Yeah, make a test video about it, Beanie. I'm real curious to see what happens there.
Oh yeah, Beanie was talking to me earlier on Discord about making a test video to test out if you swap the settings around or whatever.
Yeah.
Get some comments, turn it off. Do the comments come back when you turn it back on?
Yeah.
Do you come back with, like, comments are back on, but you got no comments?
Right.
All that sort of thing. So yeah, it's worth testing,
And how long does it take? Like, if they go off, how long did it take to bring it back on? The guy who told me when he lost his, he said it's been an entire day, like an entire 24 hours, and he hadn't had him back on yet.
Yeah.
So
he applied that to his whole channel. Hey,
that's the thing, is he applied this to his entire channel. So they may have said, okay, the entire channel is for children. All of your features are gone. All of the, community tab and all that stuff. So who knows? Maybe he might have it back by now. People have people love to panic. They love to reach out, help me, help me, help me. And then they never tell you if they resolved it or not. So who knows?
All right. What is happening in the chat? Oh no, I'm up to date. There we go.
Hey Doug, I'll be right back in a moment.
Not a problem. Okay. Epic City Builders, welcome to the stream. I think the first comment I've seen from you. If I've missed any further ones, that's okay. Social media lawyer on YouTube made a good point. COPPA, FTC, and YouTube doesn't know what's for kids. Creators, users, even lawyers are saying they don't know either. How can you find someone? Well, it's based. They're not finding you because of the content necessarily, or that's the byproduct of the settlement. They're finding you because you're collecting data on kids. So if you have everything turned off so that you're not collecting data on kids, then you can't get stung because you're not collecting data on kids. Not that I recommend that if you got everything's okay, just mark everything for kids, because you'll be safe either way. That's the extreme. Like that's probably last resort sort of extreme, apart from deleting your channel, of course. But yeah, it's not that they can't give you advice personally. You have to determine it for yourself. The FTC will make their determination, and what they're saying is, hopefully, you match what you say, what they say. Actually, while D's not here, I'll just go back to me. There we go. When D comes back, I can go back to the double screen. So yeah, it's a pickle. It's a pickle if you're in those weird stuff, in that gray area, that borderline content, as they call it. 3D Plastic Fantasy. G'day if I haven't said g'day already. I did mark a video last week and lost some demographics on 25 to 44 age group on that particular video. I reverted to the changes again, but nothing changed. It's odd that the demographics would change. I'm not sure why the demographics would change, but yeah, okay. Lily Tree says, I suspect or at least hope more will be coming out from YouTube before January 1st. Maybe I'm just an optimist. I think they might come out with some stuff, but it might be after January 1st. Because as we were mentioning before, what Andrew was saying about these things they need to work through with lawyers and stuff, updates for YouTube, and programming new systems. Because this was a quick ad that they could do that would get them compliant with their settlement from September. So that was September. Now it's November. That's 2 months ago. It took 2 months to put that in place. Now they obviously had a date they had to have it in place by. But now, if they want to be more compliant with COPPA in the future and not, as some would say, shaft creators or, be so heavy on kids' content, they might be coming out with some other systems, whether that's to do with making everything more compliant, maybe putting like people are talking about putting an age gate on YouTube, so you have to watch any video, you have to be logged in. And maybe they make kids log in with the parents' permission. The parents go in and say, yes, I am the parent of such and such. So, because it comes down to parental consent and collecting data off kids. That's all it comes down to. So YouTube, they could be coming up with ways and means. They got to test it, make sure that the FTC would be happy with it. Their lawyers look at it. The FTC probably want to look at it too at this point. There's all sorts going on there. So it's not simple in any case. It's not simple for creators. It's not simple for YouTube. It's probably not even simple for the FTC, to be honest, because they're going to have some issues in actually probably enforcing everything. Andrew's got to go. Andrew, good luck with your stream. Getting ready for the stream. Yeah, good conversation. It's great getting D in here as well. I'm looking at the screen. D's not back yet, so it's okay. He might be sitting there waving at me saying, I'm back. And Urban Explorer has now got wood. That's good to know. The demographics were completely removed. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why analytics stuff would be removed. That's interesting. Okay, Kevin says they won't be able to force logins. They'll be able to affect massive amounts of reprogramming for their apps. Well, that could be one of the reasons why it takes time. Traffic sources will dry up, I would think. Yeah, it does. It makes issues for like embedding videos, which I'm assuming if you can't add kids' videos to playlists or watch lists, then they probably can't be embedded either. I'm not sure about the embeddings. If anybody knows, let me know. I'm not sure about embedding kids' content, if you can do that now. But embedding is like, putting, this is my video. I'm not embedding it. I've got it hosted on YouTube, but I'm embedding it on my blog, so that I'm writing a blog. Here's my video. You can watch it right here in the blog, Neil doesn't like kids, except for his own. I'm sure you have some sort of fondness for your own. YouTube has the manpower and money to reprogram everything. Yeah, but it takes time. And I don't know about the manpower because they are understaffed on a lot of things, like responding to creators when they have issues. How hard is it to get a hold of YouTube if you have a major issue, unless you're have a partner manager, like you're over 100,000 subscribers, you happen to have a partner manager, I wouldn't say YouTube has the manpower. They probably have the access to the money via Google. They probably have access to the talented programmers to reprogram, but reprogramming things and making sure they work take time. Look how long it's taken them to roll out various parts of Studio. They've been working on that for a few years now, the new Studio. And there's some buggy stuff in there still. And they're starting to soon they're going to be shutting down Classic, and it's taking them time. But once they get rid of Classic, maybe they'll have more manpower to do this. Who knows? Shut down Classic so that we can fix the COPPA issues. You'll hear Tom saying we gotta fix it so we can get these COPPA issues done. Or we've taken everybody off everything else to put it on COPPA. So who knows? Who knows? What have we got here? Analytics is data. Interesting. Oh yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I don't know what analytics they would lose. Because surely they'd have some basic analytics, because if people are watching their videos, but that's data being collected off miners. So that's the point. Does kids content losing analytics completely? Somebody tell me if you know. Epic City Builder says, I think age gates is the best idea going right now. Yeah. It's a lot, as intimated, it's a lot of work that YouTube would have to do to implement that, to make it work for apps, to make it work for website, to get the parental, to make it so they can get effective parental consent if they're collecting kids' data, like for kids to log into YouTube Kids to see content. It's basically redesigning the whole access to the platform part. Where are we? This is true. They might ban access to YouTube period until you're logged in. Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about age gating issues. You have to be logged in so they know who you are and how old you are, and know what content that they can give you. So that's a big shift in the way that it's set up at the moment. It's a big fuss to change the source code without redesign the back end. Easier said than done, exactly. But it won't stop kids lying about their age to make accounts. Well, it's not. They won't be making accounts in the same way that they've made accounts in the past, because to have a parent sign off on it, they're going to have to collect some sort of data, like a credit card or something like that they can use that proves that they are an adult. Because I don't know if there's anything that they can collect that would prove that they're not, because different jurisdictions have different things for driver's licenses or passports. You can have a passport as a child. Driver's license starts at different ages. D is back. So there's a whole.
Back.
I'll bring D back in. There's D.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, we're just talking about like where age restricting. If YouTube is reprogramming stuff to actually require you to log in to watch any video, to be able to have parental consent so kids can log in as a kid. They got the parental consent, then they can treat those accounts differently to adult accounts. To reprogram that, it's a lot of work.
Well, I mean,
it's not an easy thing.
Look at it this way. They already have a log into YouTube feature.
Yeah.
Right. When you log into YouTube, you're agreeing to their terms that you're not under the age of 13 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, if they age restrict all the videos, then you have to tap, yes, I understand I'm not under the age of 18, but that's not going to stop anybody. If you're on your parents' account, you just hit, I'll watch this.
Yeah. So the workaround for that would be to get the parental consent on a child's account or for any account, really, because you have to prove you're an adult. You'd have to gather some sort of data from the parent to prove that they're an adult to give that permission. Like, I don't know if it would be a credit card or to prove that it's a real credit card, it works, charge you $1, refund it back to you, or whether
that's not going to work on a global scale, because there's a lot of developing countries who are on YouTube, but they don't have access to that sort of thing.
That's true.
I think the solution is what they're doing. They're going to identify, the AI is going to identify children's content, and it's going to separate it from the rest of the content. I think that's going to be their solution.
Yeah.
Because what would work in a first world country like Australia or Canada or the United States or Germany or Belgium or wherever, that's not going to work in Bangladesh or Pakistan or Cambodia, or you know what I mean? Like places where not everybody is going to have a credit card, places where not everybody is going to have a driver's license, places where they're not going to have the same. They will in the future, and some people might have them, but when you look at large scale, they don't have access to a lot of that stuff.
That's true. That's true. Look at like, things like getting paid out through AdSense or even giving super chats. It's not available in every country because of different financial systems and stuff. So yeah, that's a valid point. That's a very valid point.
We don't have that yet in Thailand, Doug. So Nick and I, the only time we can actually give super chats is when we're in the USA, visiting in the USA. So when we're in Thailand, it's completely disabled. Like even with the VPN, it just doesn't work. Wow. So we can't give super chats, and that's frustrating. That's really frustrating because you want to support people and stuff like that, but you can't. So we'll get it. I mean, they recently added something crazy like 30 countries to the list that can have super chats. Unfortunately, we're not one of them, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly what it is. Some countries are more complicated than others due to corruption, due to red tape, due to the bureaucracy involved in some sort of an electronic payment. And I know for Thailand, because I live here and I've been here for almost 20 years, I can tell you flat out the reason it's not here is because they haven't figured out yet how to grease the right palms to make it happen, because everybody wants a piece of it. Yeah. As soon as they can figure that out, we're going to have it.
Yeah.
That's third world nonsense for you.
How are live streams impacted, Andy? Well, I can tell you for a fact when I set this live stream up tonight, I had to mark the box. Is it for kids or not for kids?
Yes.
But yeah, they will lose the live stream chat. They won't have chat, which sort of nearly makes it pointless if you want to have that community interaction if you're live streaming. If you're doing kids content, for the time being, maybe take it to Twitch or somewhere else. At least you'll get the feedback, and you're not being asked that information yet.
So for people who are just joining us, I'm going to kind of rehash what I said something early on. If you know for a fact that your channel is for children, or if you're in a gray area where you think there's a good chance that you're going to get marked for children, starting now would be a great time to start informing your community that you're getting set up on additional platforms, or create a second YouTube channel. Like if you're in this for the community aspect, like start letting your community know, hey, I'm going to start a second channel just in case this thing goes south with my main channel. I'm not going to be doing kids content over here, but I want to stay in contact with everybody, and just, start preparing for the worst. And if it doesn't happen, then maybe you're going to be somewhat covered. And if it does happen, then you're prepared. At least you're not going to lose some of your community if you let them know what's going on. Go on the offense here. Be proactive. Start, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to get screwed, start saying, okay, what can I do to lessen the blow if this happens? So I would be on that immediately.
Yeah. And things like we're talking about, the credit cards wouldn't work because it's not, not available to everybody everywhere.
Right.
Same goes for like driver's licenses. Different places have different ages for that.
Right.
Not everybody has a passport because they might not ever travel overseas. So it's hard. It is harder than it sounds. It's like, oh yeah, let's put an age gate on it. So that's
right.
Things to think about. That that's just not practical. Even some of the stuff that FTC is doing might not be practical for them to enforce, but we'll see.
Yeah. Real quick, Andy says it's a great idea. Start informing. I do want to say this. So this is very important. I need to clarify this. So don't create YouTube videos with the sole purpose of driving people off the platform. By that I mean, let's say you want to start broadcasting on Twitch or Mixer or someplace else. Don't make YouTube videos with the sole purpose of telling people to go subscribe to you on Mixer or Twitch. That's against the terms of service. You don't want to purposefully drive people off platform. You will get in trouble for that. You will get a community guideline strike for that. So be very strategic in terms of how you do that on YouTube itself. You can add, you can make a normal video and add it as, a lower third or some graphic on the screen, start adding it to your other social media, add it to your email signature, talk about it, but don't make a specific video with the purpose of doing that. You'll get in trouble there.
Epic City Builder says, what platforms are good? Facebook is okay, but Discord seems to be the way to go recently. Well at least Discord actually appears to be abiding by COPPA, because, they have that strict rule that if you find out that you've got somebody under 13 in your server, you're required to kick them out by the terms of service.
Yeah.
So they're trying to catch people, but they have the same problem with as YouTube does about people under 13, kids under 13 creating an account, because that's how do you stop them from creating any website really? How do you stop them creating an account? So in the end, they probably will be sweeping and looking at every platform, not necessarily a video platform, but anything that is attractive to kids. And obviously Discord, for example, is appealing to gamers, and a lot of gamers can be young. A lot of gamers, most of the ones that probably get on Discord are over 13, but there are a few. And I know for a fact I kicked someone off our Discord yesterday for admitting openly they were 12 years old.
Kid.
So
yeah,
it's like he's 1 year off. But I didn't have a choice as an admin of a server to not do that. That's required by the terms of service, let alone COPPA.
So here's the thing everybody needs to understand. COPPA is not new. This law is not new, but what happened is the COPPA is something that's been covering pretty much all media since it's been in existence, since they wrote this originally back in like 2002, right? But here's the thing: YouTube violated COPPA by illegally collecting data on underage minors under the age of 13. They were illegally collecting data of children under the age of 13. Okay. So the FTC, they used COPPA as a way to fine YouTube to push forward these new regulations, to fine them for doing so, for illegally collecting that information. COPPA has been here. Okay. Now here's the thing in terms of COPPA and other platforms. It's always been there. It's always hovering over those other platforms, but they have not yet caught those platforms illegally collecting data or trying to collect data yet. I think they got Musical.ly. I think Musical.ly was hit a while back, the app, before they changed over to TikTok. Yep. But if they catch Facebook, if they catch Twitch, if they catch Discord, if they catch them illegally taking this data, then they're going to get hit with they're going to get fined, and they're going to get new regulations as well, and during the agreement.
Yeah.
So nobody's safe. If they screw up and they illegally collect data, they're in for it.
Yeah. Now, being with Patreon, because it's a service that you have to basically be
pay for.
You're paying for access to creators and supporting creators. It's like you're using something like a credit card or PayPal or something where you would assume even I don't think your PayPal wouldn't be allowed to let children under 13 have an account. Because that'd be violating COPPA as well.
Right. Yeah.
So I'd say there's less likelihood of Patreon collecting data from minors.
So Doug, you saw yesterday the FTC made that update. Can you pull that up on the screen? Do you have access to that? Because there's one part of that I want everybody to pay attention to, which I think has the potential of being pretty devastating for some platforms, especially somebody like Discord.
All right. Where are we? Okay, we're side by side. Which part would you like?
Scroll down where they specifically go into the comments, where they leave an example where somebody's saying like, hey, I'm this person and I live in this state or whatever. They specifically quote an imaginary comment.
Oh, yes. I saw that. Where is that?
I think it's towards the bottom, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, was it this one here? For example, think of a comment like this. My name is Mary Jones from Springfield. I love this video. Is that the one?
Yes. Okay. So now keep that highlighted. What they're saying here is that by disabling comments, right? Let me go backwards. What they're saying is by leaving comments enabled on videos that could be attractive to children, a child could come in and they could say, hey, my name is Mary Jones from Springfield. I love this video, right? A child just told the internet her name and where she lives.
Yeah.
So they're saying that they're going to disable comments because of this. They want to stop that. They don't want children to go on there and leave comments like, hey, this is my name. This is where I live. Let's meet up, right? Now, when you think about every platform that accepts comments, this considering they actually use this as an example in yesterday's update. So when I read this, I was like, yeah, that's kind of like platform wide. Anybody who accepts comments, especially a platform like Discord. So my guess is if they actually go after gaming, let's say they go after Minecraft, the Minecraft game, the versions that are for, 13 plus or whatever. Like if you've got Discords for that as well, I could see them coming after them because those same kids could go in there and leave that same information that they're trying to avoid people leaving on YouTube. That's a little bit troubling.
That is. Well, hang on, let's go back to this one. There we go. How did they get that in? Yeah. Neil, go for it.
I was just gonna say one more thing,
Yep.
just to like like the last thing you want. And Beanie said this in terms of, he's going to go through his comments. I would, and I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do this on mine as well. I'm going to add words like 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. Like I'm going to start adding these numbers. I'm going to write them out and spell them out in my comment blocked area because I do not want children's comments even popping up in my comments where some kid says, hey, I'm 11. Thanks. Hey, I'm 11. I'm on YouTube. Thank you. Like I want to block all of that stuff from going on my channel.
Maybe put the word age in if they say, hey, my
age
is 11.
Yeah.
Or like years old, year old.
Yeah. Like the whole spectrum there, anything, I want to block that stuff out because one of the things the FTC does say is that if you have empirical data saying that children are watching your video, then that's for children. So if somebody leaves a comment that says, hey, I'm 12 years old and I'm XYZ, thank you. That's empirical data saying that a child is watching your video. Therefore, you need to mark it as kids. So
that's it. Neil asks, how do they get the info if you have to be 13 to have an account? It's because they're watching kids' videos and YouTube know that they've got kids content on their platform and that's not made for adults, it's made for kids. So therefore kids are watching it. And they even told advertisers that we're the #1 platform that kids watch. So they basically dob themselves in to say, hey, we know that they're watching. We don't have the data, but we know that they're watching.
I have thoughts on this.
Yeah.
Think about this analytically for a second. Okay. If 13-year-olds are not creating accounts to come into YouTube, that means, or under 13, that means they're probably using their parents' account. How can YouTube determine? Okay, let's just say theoretically, I don't have kids, but let's say I had a kid and say he's 12. And I say, here, Timmy, because I'd probably name my kid Timmy. Not really, but it's my imaginary kid. We're going to call him Timmy. I said, here, Timmy, here's my phone. Go play with my phone. Go watch YouTube videos. And he starts watching toy videos. He starts watching animation videos. He starts watching cartoon videos. Now, how does YouTube specifically know that that's a child of a certain age watching those videos? How do they know that I'm not an animator? How do they know that I'm not into toys? How do they know that I'm not a toy collector? How do they know I'm not a pedophile looking at children's content? How did they know that children are actually watching the videos instead of an adult, instead of somebody who's 14, right? How did they know it's a 12-year-old or under instead of somebody who's 14? How did they know that? This is the part that disturbs me because how many times have you guys, and here goes the tinfoil hat stuff, how many times, Timmy Nimmin, that's right, Lily Tree, Timmy Nimmin, it's my little kid. How many times have you been talking, and I know this comes up all the time, you're having a conversation with a friend, and you're like, wow, look at that. We were just talking about Alfredo pasta, and I've never searched for it. Now I'm getting ads for Alfredo pasta. Like, how many times has that happened to you? Because YouTube, we don't listen to you. We don't listen to your microphone, Well, Facebook just got busted for accessing your camera. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if they're illegally listening to people as well too, because how do you know? How do you know if the child is under 13 if they're not like 14? Or how do you know it's not an adult looking at a Hot Wheels video because I'm into Hot Wheels? How do they know? Whoa, and they shut me down.
Oh, we've got a Frozen D. Frozen D. Well, D's working on that. Gudtraz Night Cause. All right, let me go to this view. All right. Gudtraz Night Cause. Will COPPA kill me if I have... It has nothing to do with subscribers. So I don't know what sort of content you're making, but you basically have to tell YouTube and COPPA by that selection whether you're making videos for kids or
it's going to take more than that.
For kids. Here we go. Let's go back. So yeah, I'm not sure what you're asking there, Gudtraz, because it has nothing to do with subscribers and not going to kill you, but they're just looking for you to mark your videos correctly. That's all they're looking for. So if you do that, and FTC likes what you've done, then everything's good.
So Doug, how do you think they know? How do you think they know? How do you think they can tell the difference between me, my 14-year-old son, and my 12-year-old son? How do you think they were collecting that data?
I think I don't know.
I think they're listening. I think they listen.
They must somehow. I'm sure. Like, are they doing what Facebook were doing when you're scrolling in your Facebook feed on your app? I think it was on Android phones.
Yeah,
they were actually watching people on the cameras, watching people to see what they were looking at, watching their live movements.
Right.
Are they hijacking your camera?
I bet the answer is yes, because there's no way you would be able to tell. And I bet you, this is just my opinion, I bet you part of that settlement is, hey, I'll tell you what, we're going to fine you $170 million. You're going to give us access to your back end, to your AI, and we're just not going to bring up this other thing. like there's no way that you would be able to tell the difference between, like, if there's a 14-year-old watching this, or if it's a 12-year-old watching this, or an 11-year-old, or a 7-year. How would they possibly know that if they weren't watching?
Yeah. And if they were doing that, that's like far worse than a persistent cookie on a website.
Yeah.
You know? That's like serious privacy issues. But yeah.
Josephine, you know how I do.
Yes.
Making those babies, Josephine. That's how we roll.
The other thing, if you a bit of a PSA for anyone, if you've got an Android and you're using the Facebook app, I don't know if they've patched it yet, but don't sit there half naked or anything like that. Make sure you're clothed.
Yeah,
you never know who's watching.
Yeah, well, apparently it was Facebook. Yeah, my point is, I just don't know how. Like, if you step back from it and say, wait a minute, how in the world do they actually know? Because those kids, like, just because you're watching a video, that doesn't mean you're informing them that you're 11. You're not taking a poll. You're not saying, hey guys, thanks, I'm 11. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's something else going on there.
Was it just YouTube just putting some marketing spin for the advertisers to say, hey, we're the #1 platform for kids just because we've got lots of kids content and we've got YouTube kids, so there must be some kids here, and no one else is claiming #1, so we'll claim #1.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
that's as benign as that, but who knows?
Maybe
it could be either way. Bit of both.
Yeah, but I mean, considering Facebook just got busted for watching your camera, then I have to believe that YouTube was doing something. I mean, their fine, $170 million, was like enormously larger than any other fine combined. All the other fines combined from the FTC ever didn't amount to the amount that YouTube just got fined. So I just have to believe there's something else involved, because how would you know? How would you know if they were 14 or if they were 11? I don't know. I just think there's more involved than, and that's the thing that nobody's talking about. Timmy Nimmin, that's right, my little boy. Timmy Nimmin.
I'm just trying to find my place. I think
and here's the thing. If you guys notice, Timmy Eminem and then Nimmin Eminem. Huh?
Eminem
sponsorships, man. They're just
sponsorships. I don't even have any on my desk. Shock.
# not sponsored.
I should have got some when I was at the supermarket today.
I've actually had to. True story. Look, and I'm going to say this right here. I love you guys. I love and by the way, Kevin, Car Galaxy Studios, I had your syrup a couple days ago and it was delicious.
Oh,
Kevin brought some Canadian maple syrup, and it was delicious.
I haven't
Absolutely,
tried mine
yeah, absolutely delicious. So thank you for that. Yeah. So here's the thing. I love you guys. Please stop bringing M&Ms to the events. we always get M&Ms. People bring us bags of M&Ms at the events, and I can promise you that we have enough M&Ms to last us, and I'm not joking, at least 2 years. We are stocked with at least 2 years worth of M&Ms. We have enormous bags and bags and bags and bags of M&Ms.
So problem, it's all about long-term storage.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna get like legit diabetes. Yeah. Yeah. So what happened to Nick? Well, his voice went out. What happened to D? Diabetes. It's extreme diabetes.
Both from M&Ms.
Yeah.
Gutraz, also, if they make an account, the kids agree. No, kids can't agree to terms of service because they're not allowed to have data collected on them, including agreeing to terms of service. It's got nothing to do with agreeing to terms of service. Kids
Right.
cannot have data collected on them at all. So that's what that's about. Popsicle D? What's that about?
Popsicle. What?
Something that. When your frame froze, when you had your camera froze, or whatever. You were in one position, you were just frozen. I'm so far behind in the chat now. I need to catch up. Here we go. What's everyone saying? Yeah, I'll talk about the yep. YouTuber listening, probably.
Defrost them. Yeah. Yeah, so I know Neil, you saw, I think I posted on Twitter or maybe my stories. So John, you do it. He gave us these 2 huge containers. No joke, there's enormous containers. I think it was like 5 pounds. It was 5.5 pounds of M&Ms.
Wow.
And I had to take them out of the containers, and I got a giant like Ziploc bag and I had to put them in. I still have it. It's huge. 5.5 pounds of M&Ms. And that wasn't including all the other large family size share bags of M&Ms that we got. I mean, I love it. Thank you, but Crazy. We're good. We're good for like 2 years. Yeah.
Crazy. Andy says that Joe Rogan loves a good conspiracy. He needs to get on this.
Oh my, yes.
Camera on the watching the kids. Well, we have no proof. It's just a theory. Not a lot to go on. Also, kids, if you came for a Baby Shark or something when your baby, okay, yeah. Well, if people are watching Baby Shark, I would say most of them are kids, and there's probably some parents in there getting in on the catchy tune.
Right.
There's a few people who were sort of getting into that were a little bit older than 13. Josephine, I'll bring customized M&Ms so I can say D eats my face every now and then.
Josephine, behave.
Oh, dear.
Why is it that we're always telling Josephine to behave? Thank you, Neil.
It's like in every stream. Every stream. Do kids' channels get any monetization or money from YouTube still? Well, up until now, they could monetize, and even afterwards, they can get ads, but not targeted ads. So they can't have ads that are catered towards kids specifically. Maybe kids generally, but it can't be something based on who's viewing. It's just like, well, here's a video. Advertisers probably said, "Oh, I want this video on this channel." They could probably still do those, but not. They are saying, "Oh, this person likes whitewater rafting, so here's an ad about whitewater rafting from this company. So we're going to put that in front of that video." So that they'll get and those ads that aren't targeted because they're not targeted and not as effective, they're not worth as much money. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. So basically, if you have a non-personalized ad, that means it's a non-targeted ad, and non-targeted ads give you a significantly lower CPM. So you're talking probably pennies. Instead of getting 5, 6, 10, 15, or in Roberto's case, $40+ for CPM, which is incredible, you're probably going to get pennies. And you're not going to be able to make money on that.
That's right. You got to monetize outside of AdSense. good advice for all creators, not just kids content at this point. Just brand deals, affiliate links, whatever you can do, sell your own merch, whatever works for you. There's a lot of things you can do.
Yeah, and it's not just one thing. I mean, like,
yeah,
people have been stressing. All the guys and ladies who are YouTube educators have all been saying the same thing forever. It's just, don't rely on ads. Don't rely on ads. Like, ads should be the lowest on your list of the way you're monetizing your content. And I know that's harder for some type of channels, but you really need to think outside of the box. Like, and here's the thing, it all comes down to channel goals once again. If your channel goal is, if you want to grow your channel and you want to make money on your channel, you're going to have to think outside of the box. I had somebody leave us a reply to a YouTube story today. And they're like, yeah, I'm trying to hit 4,000 hours of watch time so I can get monetized. Can you shout me out so I can hit that? And I've only have 20 or 30 seconds to reply in a story, but I'm thinking to myself, man, you're going to be so disappointed at your ad revenue when you do get monetized, because it's unless you're in a particular niche market, and that's where you need to go follow Roberto Blake. Just like the average YouTuber, you need to be making a lot of views and have the right type of content to make good money with ads. Yeah, John, we were just talking about you, brother. We were talking about your ginormous M&M containers.
Here he is. Here he is. Welcome.
You're like Beetlejuice, man.
Who can we mention next? We haven't mentioned Brian G. Johnson yet. You never know.
Yeah.
Andrew Can's been here, so
30-day reviews.
He's
What's
usually
up, Justin?
One that gets a mention and turns up. So, what is happening in the chat? Everyone's just chatting.
I love it.
Anybody got any more questions or pressing? Are you still confused? Like, I understand people are still confused. Maybe if you've got borderline content, because there's no easy answers. If you're borderline, I could look at Sweeney's channel tonight, and I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, yeah, no, you'll be cool, but else I'm like, yeah, it's sort of, I can't be confident. So, is Andrew gone live? Has Andrew gone live already? I know he was going to prepare. We need to probably swing. We probably need to swing.
Let's just talk about.
There we go.
So most people make stickers, and they're just like normal business card type stickers. And then you've got John. Then you've got John, who has these things are huge. See, look, right there you go. So you've got normal stickers, and then you've got John stickers that are like the size. What is this? This is about I don't know. What do you think that is? 5 inches?
Yep.
5 inches?
That's it.
Yeah, this is huge. I love it.
There's Neil's. That's like a normal sticker.
Right. Yeah, that's normal. Then you got this. I mean, you could plaster. If you gave like 1,000 of these to like Paul Peck, he could use them as like, a drywall cover or something. You could cover a wall with them. Huge. Love it. Picked inches, not cm. Yeah. See, well, I'm an American, so centimeters. I don't know. I'm an American, man. I think inches. Come on.
Well, D, I'm told that Andrew's actually gone live over. I think, is he on the TubeBuddy channel? I think he said he's going to be live on TubeBuddy. I don't know which channel he's on, so we can send people. We'll wrap up and send people his way.
Yeah. I'm checking right now. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure he said he was going to go. He was going to be on TubeBuddy.
Did he?
That's what he.
No, there's nobody live on TubeBuddy. Maybe it's his.
Maybe it's his channel then.
It's his channel.
It's his channel. There we go. That's easy.
He's things you might not know about TubeBuddy and channel reviews.
Let me see if I can grab a link.
Josephine, behave with your hashtags.
Link. There he is,
Holy.
Can Live. I'm grabbing the link right now. I'm going to drop this link. I'm going to drop this link for everyone. We might wrap things up and send people on over
All
to
right.
Andrew. He needs
All right,
our
let's do it.
support and love. I know he did a video covering COPPA during the week. He did a live stream. I think he needed a few more people to go check that one out. So let me post that. I think that's the right link. There we go.
Yeah, we need a raid. I agree with Neil. We need a proper raid.
We need a hashtag for this. What's the hashtag?
What, and Josephine, what was your hashtag? Hashtag this is huge. I love it. Nope, not that one. Quotes by Josephine. Yeah.
Basically a raid. You got to tell them where you come from. Hey, it's like maybe hashtag Hewsonati. I don't know. I get that sometimes.
That's funny.
All right. If you head on over to Andrew to that link there, make sure you drop a hashtag Hewsonati. So he'll know what that means. He'll have a chuckle. So we'll probably wrap things up here, and I've lost my way in the chat again. Turning an old message off is a hassle on this. Guess that's not it. I think they haven't added that button. They're adding a button so that you can just take the chat off if it's disappeared up the chat queue.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, you've got to go up and find it and click it again to take it off. Unless you click on like another comment. It's just a bit of hassle.
I have to say I'm really impressed with StreamYard overall. I've just recently started digging into it more. I think there's some features that they could add to really kind of polish it off, but as is, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I think in the next week or two they're actually taking the beta tag off, and they're going to sort of do like a mini launch, sort of like a broader launch. So yeah, and I think at that time there's probably a few more things that are going to be added in. But they've already got multi-streaming. Like I'm streaming to Twitch right now. We're streaming to Twitch and YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, like no one over there watching, I don't think. Well, not commenting anyway.
I've been meaning to send them an email with some features, because there's some specific things that I do inside of Streamlabs for my stream that I like. StreamYard for me is so simple and it just works. It works well. I would love to make this transition from stream. I would love to move from stream, and mostly because StreamYard or Streamlabs keeps updating. I mean, it's a fantastic streaming platform, but it just keeps updating. So the Microsoft 10 will update, and then I'll get like a Stream Deck update, and then Streamlabs will update, and something's always breaking. And I'm just like, come on, I'm just, I'm tired of this. So I would love to move over for the simplicity. And I love that you can just tap on the comments and show them up on stage. I love how easy it is to pull in other guests, but it's lacking a couple of features that allow me to do that. I've been meaning to send an email. I just
they're always open. Basically they rate things apart from fitting their 3 pillars that they have on ease of use. There's a couple others, I can't remember what the 3 are, but one of them is ease of use. Apart from that, they basically rate everything on what sort of demand people have. So sort of keep asking for features. They'll move it up the rankings to be a little bit more of a priority for them. So good. Yeah, and they're very good at listening. Like I tune in every week to their town hall on YouTube that they have. It goes for like 30 minutes, and they just sort of talk about new features or answer questions, promote a couple of their live stream shows that like Ross Brand has one. Rob Balasabas has one on different platforms. I think Ross's is on LinkedIn. They have like on different platforms where they talk about StreamYard or it's hosted by StreamYard. So they have, it's going on, and it's building a little community around it as well. So a lot of support.
How are they doing this? Well, what's their main? Are they doing this on YouTube?
Yeah, they do it on YouTube on the StreamYard's channel I think it's 6 p.m. Is it 6 p.m. Pacific on Sunday? So I watch it it's usually around my mid-morning on a Monday when it comes on, but I think it's like 6 p.m. Pacific time on a Sunday. They do it for half an hour.
Wow, I can't believe I wasn't subscribed to them.
Yeah. They've got a YouTube channel. They hit 1,000 subscribers about a month back.
Yeah, they're 1.6 now.
Yeah, it's really taken off. And they had that big boost too when Hangouts was depreciated by YouTube and Google for live streaming. they got a bit of a bounce from that as well. So yeah, it's StreamYard doing some good things.
Yeah, so I guess I should hit them up then, because I would definitely love to move over to this for my own streams. I like this. I love pulling in the guest. That's, man, it's just so, it makes for such a better experience.
Yeah.
And I'm wanting to do some different things and stuff like that. I think Streamlabs is kind of just things that I want to do. I'm kind of hitting that ceiling with it currently in terms of ease of use. You can do it, but it's complicated, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that. Just make it easy for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm a big supporter of StreamYard. Like I support multiple things. Like StreamYard.
Right.
Like I really like Ecamm on Mac. So if you got a Mac, I like Ecamm a lot. That's what I do the wake up show with when I do the trivia.
Right.
Do all that because I can, do those things. I'm not bringing guests in, but I can still do the comments and different things like that.
Right.
So those two for me are good. And even on Mac at the moment, OBS is problematic with Catalina. It's not even working properly. So, but I just got their patch. It seems to be okay.
Beanie behave.
Yeah, so it's
guys
good. What's everyone saying in the chat? I'm not looking at the chat. Something about the Ross brand is. Yeah. Ross has been one of the early adopters of StreamYard. He's been an early supporter. I've seen him in a lot of the chats. So yeah, Ross is a big supporter of StreamYard. Also, Eddie Garrison's backs them a lot as well. I think he was their first guest on their town hall ever when they started bringing guests in, which they don't do often. Like every now and then they have a guest. So yeah, they've got a lot of support in the community. A lot of live streamers jumping on board. Just the ones that do interviews. It's like it's so easy for them. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I love it. Like I said, I like on my perpetual do list that just, man, I'm embarrassed at how big it is, but I'm not embarrassed at how big it is, but my perpetual to-do list, I'm embarrassed at how big that is. Beanie. And to contact them and to see if they can add some features has been on my to-do list for quite some time, because it's like, it with just a little bit of polishing, I think this could be like the ultimate streaming platform. Just a little bit of tweaks here and there,
Yeah. I'm in their Facebook group as well, so they get a lot of feedback through Facebook, through the group there as well. So yeah,
I think I'm a member there, but I'm just not on Facebook much.
Yeah.
I'm not
you
a
have
Facebook
to be.
person. Yeah.
I spend too much time on Facebook. Not by choice. I don't really like Facebook, but I'm a mod on 2 groups, so I sort of got to pop by from time to time.
Well, Doug, I know it's late there, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, everyone head on over to Andrew Can, and thank you, D. Thank you for joining me.
Hey, dude, anytime, man. Like this. I love this. I almost feel like I was missing out streaming tonight. I'm so glad you went live.
It's the night for it.
Yeah, I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, everyone, make sure to head on over to Andrew Can's stream. I dropped it in the chat. Let me drop it again real quick. There we go. And okay, yeah, it went. There it is. Josephine says, "Do not leave." Well, Josephine, if you go over to Andrew's stream, you might see at least we'll pop in. I know I'll pop in the chat, say hi.
Okay.
So thank you all for watching, and thank you, Lily Tree. Thank you, Josephine.
Thanks, everybody.
Everyone is still in the chat. Stanley, who's just popped in, but we're about to finish up. Be rolling for 3.5 hours. Wow.
Yeah, right on, man. I like it.
I like it too. All right. It's a plan.
Josephine.
If you and Nick aren't streaming, we need to. You got to have a substitute stream. Everybody's looking for something.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, D, and we'll catch you later. If I figure out how to, I got to hit end broadcast. There we go. See ya.
Cheers.